Here we go. We're about to start the Wadcast podcast. Before we do, I want to talk to you about a few little things. Thank you guys, first of all, for listening to the show. We have an amazing episode coming up this week. Next week, I have an incredible guest. This week's a special episode. I've got Crazy Bobby Williams and the CrossFitter formerly known as Ronnie Teasdale, who is known as Raw of Earth, or Raw, R-A. We had an awesome conversation, hung out up at Bobby's house and drank sewer water. And I don't know, Bobby gave us some kind of swamp water. I don't know what happened to me. I'm probably going to have the worst bacterial infection of my entire life. Some kind of parasites growing in me right now. I'm going to be like human centipede or something. I don't know how that has anything to do with anything. That's that movie where they sewed people's mouths to other people's buttholes. So I've got a lot of fears. Let's move on. Let's talk about how funny I am. If you think I'm funny, you like me, come see me live. November 2nd, I have a big show coming up at the Ice House in Pasadena. This is the show where I'm trying to get all the fans of the show to come out. I have had people write me so far. I've put them on the guest list. I never do this. I'm offering cross-fitting, wadcasting fans of this show free tickets because I want to have more than just comedy fans there. I want fans of this show. November 2nd, that is a Saturday night. I believe it's 8 p.m. at the Ice House in Pasadena. So send me a message. I will put you on my VIP list. You'll be treated like a VIP. You're going to be a VEP, not very important person. You're a very elite person. All right. So let me know. Send a message to wadcastpodcast@yahoo.com and I'll take care of you. That's for November 2nd at the Ice House. The 8th and 9th, I'm going to be in Calgary, Canada, Yuck Yucks Comedy Club. That's Yuck Yucks. So, that's the 8th and 9th. And then the, 24th, I'm going to be at the Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard. That's a big show. A lot of big names will be on that. That will sell out. So you want to get your tickets. Let's see. Then I head off to, Naples, Florida. I'll be at Off the Hook Comedy Club, and that is the 27th, I think, through they're really working me. I think I'm even working on Thanksgiving night. That's the 27th through the December 1st or something. Yeah, that's a big week of work. Anybody, Naples area, Fort Myers, anything down there, come see me. Please, I'll be lonely. The 5th, 6th, 7th of December, I'll be at Harvey's Comedy Club in Portland, Oregon. Those are fun shows. Get your tickets now. I believe they are on sale already. You can get them at eddyift.com. All the tickets are available at eddyift.com. Then you can go see me in Alaska. I haven't posted these tickets. I better get on it. But I will be at Chilkoot Charlie's, and I think I'm doing a show at Alyeska Resort. I'm not sure. Got to talk to them. Then I head to Lake Norman. I'll be at the Comedy Zone in Lake Norman. I think that's at a restaurant. Like upstairs, they have a comedy club in the Galway Hooker, I think they call it. So I'll be there. Then I have some time off for Christmas, and then I head straight out. January's crazy. I'll be in Sunnyvale. I'll be in Lake Tahoe. I'll be in Las Vegas. I'll be in Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm going to be in, I do it again. I'll be in Worcester, and then I'm in Boston the next week. And then right after that, I go to Vancouver. So come check me out. Yeah. Then I go to Australia. So I'm giving you a lot of dates. They're at eddyift.com because I didn't realize how far ahead people buy tickets, but I guess you do. I plan I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I do know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm watching my kids all day while my wife does something. And then I'm interviewing Ben Greenfield. So if you want to help out the show, go to our Patreon. $5 a month gets you in the drawing. You can give anything. You give $1 a month. That's nice. $2, $3, $4, whatever. You give $5. That's pretty nice. And $5 a month, that's like paying $1 an episode. And what do you get for that? You get in the drawing. the drawing for a Myopux and a Leopard Claw. I've talked about it a million times because they are a sponsor and they are the best sponsor of the show. They've been with us forever. Troy Willis over there at Myopux and Leopard Claw has been such a helpful guy. Not only does he help us in that way, he helps get us guests too. And a lot of the good guests come through Troy. So thank Troy sometime. I thank you, Troy. And donate to the Patreon because it really does help and gets us, pays bills. And this week, the winner that gets a Myopux, which is a electronic muscle stimulator. More and more I'm hearing about how important these things are to moving the blood around your body and getting the bad blood out through your lymphatic system. I mean, constantly I hear this stuff. So, the winner is, I just saw who the winner was. I wrote it down and now I'm being an idiot. Oh, you also get a Leopard Claw, which is really cool. It's a multi-tool device that you can use to scrape all those adhesions out of your fascia, and you clear that up, get that out, throw the Myopux on. That flushes it all out. You want to get both of this. All these people who, I think this guy's name is Edward Cadwell. Edward, send us a message, wadcastpodcast@yahoo.com. I have your email, but you send me a message if this is you and you've won. Congratulations. It's like totals about $450 worth of stuff. So it's a pretty good deal. And, we've gotten lots and lots of messages about people doing the Vortex, doing the workout that we challenged them to, which is the run a mile and a half, and every minute on the minute, or every other minute on the minute you do 10 push-ups, and every minute on the minute you do 15 squats. So it starts with push-ups, squats, push-ups, squats, push-ups, and it's a continuous clock. And you've got to get to a minute and a half. I've seen a lot of people do it on assault runners, or woodways or whatever it is. That looks like the best way to do it. It looks horrendous, but I'm seeing people come in anywhere from 12 and a half minutes, which seems impossible, to 15 minutes. Brutal. I'd have to say you guys are in some pretty awesome shape to pull that off. I'm going to have to try it as soon as this run is over. We're doing our 68-mile run where we're going from the Pacific Palisades to Point Magoo if it doesn't burn down tomorrow. Tomorrow we got a red flag warning, high winds, or Thursday it is. High winds, red flag. And the reason we're doing this run is to raise money and awareness for the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. We've already raised $1,000, just trying to raise some more money. If you guys want to get involved, go to the website. Go to wadcastpodcast.com, eddieif.com. You can find it there. Donate some money. It goes straight to their site. So we're not taking $1. I've got some amazing CrossFitters coming with me. Tommy Hackenbrook, who you guys know has won the games as a team member, second as a individual. Zach Forrest says he's coming now. I think his best performance was 4th in the CrossFit games, if I'm not mistaken. Zach is a L1 cert instructor. He's just a all-around good dude. He's been a guest on the show. Dusty Wunderlich, who is owner of a CrossFit up in Reno, Nevada. Who else is coming? Dustin Fierro, who does CrossFit. He's an ultramarathoner. He's a championship paddleboarder. You got Hunter McIntyre, who is just a waste of life, oxygen thief, piece of garbage. Just kidding. I love Hunter. You know I love him. He's coming with me. I just hope he doesn't bother me for 24 hours. And a couple other guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. You want to come alongside us for maybe 5, 10, 15 miles. We'll let you know sometimes where we'll be, and you can meet up with us and travel with us if you want. Might be fun. Might get a good laugh. Also, you want to help out an aid station, or you want to contribute in any way. Donate some product. We're going to need all kinds of electrolytes, food, clothing, whatever you want to do to help us out. We're going 68 miles. We're going to break 24 hours. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. It's going to be tough. I don't know if you heard about David Goggins in the Moab. This guy was supposed to go 230 miles in the Moab 230. He went off course, got lost, went 7 miles off course, had to come back on 7. So he went 14 extra miles. Then up in the mountains, he got, screwed up in his lungs, and he ended up going to the hospital and being diagnosed with a pulmonary edema. So they DQ'd him from the race, and everybody's like, oh my God, it's David Goggins. He, can't believe he quit. He didn't quit. He went back to the course and finished it after they let him out of the hospital. So, I hope nothing like that happens to us when we're up in these mountains that are filled with mountain lions and possible fires, and gets really cold at night, really hot during the day. There's 14,000 feet of elevation. It's all 80% single track. So why am I doing this? To raise money and awareness. And the best thing you can do, if you donate, you've kept me on this course. The less money that's there, the less bad I'll feel about quitting. If there's a lot of money up at stake, I'm not making sense today. If there's a lot of money at stake, I'm going to feel guilty, and I am the most peer pressured person in the world. So, go donate. Could be fun to watch me cry. I'm sure the other guys will film it if I do. And I believe that is it. So, always go to iTunes, rate, review, comment. Haven't seen a lot lately, guys. Come on. It's the littlest thing you could do if you enjoy this show. Just if you don't do anything, just do that. Go rate, review, and comment on iTunes. Helps the show, gets us higher in the ratings, gets me better guests, not that our guests aren't great. I just made it seem like, what I'm talking about. No, our guests are great, but, it continues the, cavalcade of amazing guests. I never use that word. I use big words a lot, and then I'm second guess myself, and I'm like, did I just use that right? And then I'm like, wait a minute, if they're listening to me, they're dumber than me. So, I just found out I used cavalcade wrong. It's a formal procession of people walking on horseback or riding in vehicles. Yeah, so it's not a cavalcade of guests. I feel like there's another definition. Maybe I'm an idiot. Anyway, rate, review, comment. Get us some good guests. And what else? Get us high in the ratings. More people listening. You know how it works. Because hopefully we're your favorite functional fitness / health, wellness / comedy podcast there is. All right? So, awesome episode. These guys really took me down some wormholes. It's like they were completing each other's sentences. I think they're a match made in heaven. They've planned on doing some excursions together. But enjoy this episode with Raw. That's just Raw. Or as I like to call him, the CrossFitter formerly known as Ronnie Teasdale. And Crazy Bobby Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wadcast podcast. I'm your host, Eddie Ift. I'm just going to let the conversation flow today. Our guests are Raw of Earth, the artist or CrossFitter formerly known as Ronnie Teasdale.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well, Ronnie. Loud and clear.
Boom, boom, boom.
And that is Crazy Bobby Williams.
I think it's his name Crazy.
I'm just going to be a fly on the wall on this one because this conversation is going to flow. I'm merely a observer to these two.
You're a mediator.
I'm a mediator to these two weirdos here. I didn't know. I feel like it's like Marvel meets DC, the superheroes of
I don't
crazy
get the
health.
reference.
Okay, well, you guys are the superheroes of health and wellness. You're both nutcases. You're both two of the strangest, best people I know. And you know too much about everything in the world. And I thought we'll just this is the first introduction of the two of you.
Actually, we met in passing about half hour ago when he came in the front door.
Yeah.
So this should be good. The conversation that we were just having before the show started was about DMT, and I found it weird that neither of you has ever done ayahuasca. I mean, I know Bobby's you're very anti-drug and anti-alcohol, but Ronnie, you've dabbled. So
a little bit.
You've smoked a lot of weed.
Hold on. No, I didn't start till I was 30.
Yeah, me too, sort of.
And then I really like it for sex.
Really?
So that's primarily the only time I use it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a super drug that we don't necessarily need all the time, and so I recreationally use it, and I'm pretty much compromising my own standards, and I know that,
It's like using performance-enhancing drugs a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had sex on it. It's pretty amazing.
I go with Chinese herbs on the sex.
Mm-hmm.
They work.
What do you use?
I can't pronounce it. It's over there on the counter. You can see all the stuff over there. But I've been going to get tea 4 times a year, change the seasons, from a Chinese herbalist since '96. She makes me my own batch based on what's going on with my organs and my pulse and all the good stuff, right? So she makes this 10-day tea deal for me, and it's for chi, right? It's for life force energy. If I have a weak pancreas, weak heart, weak lung chi, she just makes it up for me. It's different every time. And then I cook it in a terracotta pot on the stove, for like 2.5 hours, and it tastes like you're eating old shoes, but you sure do feel good.
Have you ever tried the deer antler?
Yeah.
Anything?
Yes. For me, yeah. I have low testosterone, I think, because I had too many head injuries when I was younger. So I've done all of the stuff, but I haven't went into some Asian woman to check me out, like Crazy Bobby just said. Do you have some right now?
Is this the tea? You're bringing the tea out here.
Do we inject it into our veins?
That looks terrifying.
It's all the herbs broken down. This is what year is this one? This one's 91. Yeah, this one I got poured into this batch. This is from 1999. Yeah, this one's badass. It's 200 proof rice wine alcohol that's breaking the herbs down.
Certainly fermented. Yeah. Hey Eddie, why did you say I smoke weed a lot?
I just figured you do.
But you just figured I did ayahuasca and DMT 1 minute ago, and then you're like, oh no, it must be weed? Is that?
Yeah, I just always, I don't know. I had this thing I didn't see you ever. Maybe it's just an assumption I shouldn't have made, because I knew you weren't a drinker. Were you a drinker when you were younger?
No.
Never ever.
I did it because I thought that was the thing to do, but I would do it for a few weeks and then quit for 3 years.
Yeah. Like when you were a hockey player?
Just, in college. Yeah. But I didn't drink for 3 years in college, and I was drinking a little bit. And I'm not a fan of feeling bad. And sometimes when I drink or even use cannabis, you get this hangover feeling, and I don't like that.
Yeah, me too. I completely quit. I not completely quit alcohol. I'll have one drink, maybe. But I can't have more than one because I don't want that awful feeling. It's like I look at alcohol now like I look at Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola tastes amazing, but I would never, ever, ever. I'd maybe have 2 a year.
Dude.
Oh, you guys are drinking? Wait, let me film this.
Dude, you'll so like it. It doesn't taste bad at all. It's just Chinese herbs.
Great.
Super good for you.
It's from what year?
1999.
So this, what you're drinking, is from 1999, and you guys are just putting that down. I've had way too many bacterial infections to put that in my mouth.
Come on. Dude.
Yep,
it's herbs.
Exactly.
Not happening.
Come on,
why not?
Not fucking happening.
How could you not want to have... Lauren will be happy.
No.
Yeah, you'll have another kid
so
in
you're
a
looking
couple
at
hours.
us too and thinking that your
have
health
twins.
decision is more on par than our health decision here. Like, that's crazy.
Eddie always bails. In the end, he bails.
You have no idea what you just drank.
He could see ginseng. He could probably see some of the herbs and things that are in
Looks
there.
like dirt to me.
Yeah. A lot of it's busted up, but you can see
microphone Bob.
You can see stuff over there.
Okay, so what are we drinking right here? You just
cordyceps in there too.
You handed me water that looks like urine, and when I'm around Ronnie and there's something yellow, I don't really want to drink it.
No. It's a set of herbs out of the Vitalizer Plus. It's Ian. God, I can't think of Ian Clark stuff.
It smells.
Ocean's Alive.
Ian, White hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's his stuff. Ocean's Alive. It's really
Okay.
good stuff. It's plankton and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say it smells like swamp water.
Yeah.
I'm drinking swamp water right now.
Yeah, but you're feeling good with the swamp water. So on your head injuries with the sex thing, same thing. 9 concussions that I remember that I was out, and I went and did over years, many years, 7 years, 56 sessions of brain state, brainwave optimization, balancing the hemispheres of the brain through sound, frontal lobes, temporal lobes, occipitals, parietals, centrals. So I go in. You'll love this. This is when I wasn't using a cell phone. This is like 2000. I stayed away from computer, cell phone. This is like 2001.
That's yours.
2001, right? I'm done. No cell phones, no computers. Live on the beach, $500 a week on the sand. I got this astounding, deal. No money down, no first class security. Had my garage, had everything with surfboards. So I'd get up and I'd meditate. I'd, write in the sand and pray. And I had such a great life at that time. Not that my life isn't great now, but I had a friend of mine said, "Hey, I'd really like you to go see this person. My friend went 3 times because she had a problem, an eating disorder, and she was gaining weight, and I'd like to see what your brain looks like. They can map your brain and see what it looks like." He's like, "You're my nicest friend." He goes, "You're like a dolphin. When I'm around you, I feel good." Similar. That's what Eddie was saying, that you and I are like. People always feel better when they're around us because we're sharing good, positive stuff. So I go. She hooks me up, and she said, "Let's go in the other room and use another machine." She hooks me up again, and she goes, "This one's not working properly either." Hooks me up again. She goes, "Let's just go through the phase and let me map your brain, and I'm bringing it up to the doctor." I come back in the next day, and she said, "What do you do every day?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "I read your frontal lobes and your temporal lobes, and they're in single digits." And she goes, "The Sikhs that come in are in single digits. Nobody else." She goes, "What do you do?" I said, "I meditate twice a day." And I said, "If I'm not at the ocean, I'm in the mountains climbing." She's like, "Yeah, but what do you do for work?" I said, "Well, I go on auditions part-time. I'm a stunt man. I get a big commercial. It pays a lot of money, and then I don't have to do anything. So I go back to reading books and studying and figuring out life, just like you're running at now." So she said, "Wow." She said, "Okay." She loved all that stuff, but said, "How many concussions have you had?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "A lot." I said, "Probably thousands that I don't know because I played football. I was a running back, right? You played hockey." So she says to me, "Okay, how many do you remember you were out?" So I just sat and started thinking. 9, where I was out. Like, lights were out, and I remember them. I remember all of them. And she said, "Okay." She's like, "You do stunt work, right?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "You would be better off with your eyes closed doing stunt work. I don't know how you do stunt work." She's like, "According to your brain, you couldn't do things that you do." So they started working on it. Swear to God, Ronnie, all the red and the impact stuff drifted and went away and turned, not inflamed anymore. It was able to change. It would lift frequency on one side and lower it on the other and make it really, really balanced. And I swear to you, man, I couldn't believe how much better I felt.
Can you answer your landline?
Yeah, I got to answer the phone.
This is from sound. All right, he's left.
Bobby is the only person I know in the world that has a landline, and now he'll take this call. Watch.
It's a rotary phone.
He will be on here for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, just having a conversation. He gets sidetracked, and then it's like,
yeah, and somebody.
See, I told you.
He's in. He's hooked.
He gets locked in, and then it's like he's out of us and into that. How many concussions have you had?
I haven't counted, but same thing. It's got to be thousands. I was the brutal guy.
How many out? Like,
at least 4, but one of them was extreme.
Really?
Well, actually, I forgot my motorcycle accident. I got into a motorcycle accident also. But I was riding my bike down a hill. You know how fast your bike goes down a hill? And then
your motorcycle?
No, a bicycle. And then straight into a brick wall.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, when I was in 5th grade. And so that's probably the one that did the most damage. A month after that, a picture was taken, and it was just like my whole face looked like a grape, and that was a month after I hit the wall. From hitting
the brick wall.
Yeah.
I've had 3 that I remember being out, like completely out. And then I played football, so I wonder how many. I remember getting hit.
What position?
Wide receiver, and return punts and kicks.
So I returned punt, kicks, running back, and defensive back, and I speared everybody. I remember one time, my favorite one, of all time of being out. I'm in the other team's huddle, for real. This is real. And I'm looking at the quarterback, and I'm like, just call the play. And I'm like thinking to myself, I don't know, who the fuck is this guy? And he's looking at me, and their linemen on the other team started pushing me out of the huddle. I go, what are you pushing me for? I'm just here. Let's go. Let's call the play. And I put my hands on my knees. I'm looking at everybody. They're looking at me. The ref blew the whistle. My coach walked into the field, grabbed my face mask, and walked me off the field. I said, Coach, it's not me. It's them. They just won't call the play. I was gone.
Yeah, my worst happened like playing tackle football with just buddies after school one day or on a Saturday or something. My friend jumped up. I went to tackle him, and his knee just went straight into my forehead. And
that's a bad one.
And I had my bike, and I started like going home, and my friends driving home with their parents saw me like really far from home, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I'm just going home. And they're like, this isn't how you go home. And I remember getting home, lying on the couch, and then getting up to puke. And I just kept puking.
Yep.
And my father-in-law is a former NFL football player, and he had,
my buddy Joey especially was wrestling with my cousin Thomas. My cousin Thomas hip tossed him and kicked his feet out. They went up in the air. The back of his head hit the bumper of a car. He went out. He was crying. He had tears in his eyes. He was 16. He had just gotten his permit that day. And he was looking at us when he came to, like when he stopped, like cleared the water out of his eyes, and he goes, I get this really big bump back here. And we're like, yeah, you just hit your head. You were wrestling with Thomas. I did? And we're like, yeah. And he kept going, and I had to walk him home. He was giving his weight of what he weighed when he wrestled at 7 years old, and he was 16. He was given this. He said he was 7 years old. He said he weighed like 76 pounds. You got to hear the stuff that was going on in the hospital. It's a freaky thing.
Well, how about these people that are in accidents, or like I know a surfer, it happened to a professional surfer that hit the reef at Pipeline, that they have to start over. Like life begins again. Like their brain, you start your whole life over again. You go into some kind of rehab, and they are like, okay, day one, this is how you learn to walk. This is how you learn to talk. This is how you learn to eat again. I mean,
that sounds like a broken neck.
I mean, that like resets. I've seen it with people with head damages that, head injuries that's happened.
Wow.
Have you guys heard of the people that get into an accident and then all of a sudden they're like a super genius, or they have access to some other person's knowledge?
I would love that.
Yeah, I think a lot of our math equations are from this guy in India who bumped his head, woke up, and just was just a world profound mathematician. Not good at math before this. This happens in a variety of different things. And it suggests that we're just antennas, right? And they're accessing some other etheric portal as a result of knocking their noggin around.
Well, I just heard this the other day that they've never found, I forget what podcast I was listening to, so I don't want to say who. I think it was actually Cameron Haynes talking. Or no, it wasn't Cameron. Someone talking to Joe Rogan where they were saying that they've never found they've confined all these different genes for like mental retardation or, developmentally delayed people or autism or whatever, but they've never found a gene for genius. So like the people that are geniuses, how do they get to that? Because it's not genetically, there's no specific gene that like, oh, you're just born. But I find that hard to believe because I see people that like where your parents are brilliant. I don't believe that that's nurture. I believe that that's so much nature. That if they removed you as a child from those genius parents and put you somewhere,
that happens. But I think there's no actual equation. That happens exactly like you say. But I also know guys I know this one kid that makes this CBD. His name is Will. Ojai Energetics, and I sat with him for a couple hours a couple weeks ago with Marielle, and he's got something about baby in the bathwater thing that you go to that's called it's something like famous. You have to be a genius. You have to have 160 IQ or more. You have to be an entrepreneur. You got to be giving back in the world. And anyway, this guy, like, I could really track.
Hold up here, Bob, or this thing's gonna.
Is it working?
Yeah, that's perfect.
So you start to lose it after a while. This guy's like going for 3 hours straight. His mouth is moving this fast. So we do this, and you take this, and you take the formula and move it that way, and you're tracking the guy. But like, how long can he go for? We were like, so. But both his parents, the reason I brought it up, top of their class, Stanford, But one,
so I think it is. I think
so. He's definitely got genetic things going on. But I know people who their family's not super bright, and they're like, wow, where'd you get that from? So a lot of it can happen from hard work. Like what he's doing, he's going out on the road and doing all this stuff. Ronnie, yeah. So I told him I drove across the country 87 times. I hung out with monks. I hung out with American Indians. I hung around with different people. I'd stay in national parks. The biggest thing for me was connecting to the earth. That's the whole Earthing magazine thing where I was talking about. But the more you connect to this, the more you know this, the more you know everything. And we have to sort of like unlearn the education that we got as kids in order to take yourself to another level. Otherwise, you're just going to repeat.
Right.
Yeah, it's trippy. It's really trippy.
Yeah, it's funny you said that about unlearning the education you had, because if you don't change anything, nothing will change. You can't say, I want to do this without changing anything. And so sometimes it requires changing your whole thought pattern or the way you've been.
Absolutely. Did you get a little something from that?
I like it.
Yeah.
It felt good going in. So that's enough.
It felt
for me.
good. It felt good to me, and then I get a little lift in my brain right away.
Hey, so speaking of earthing, I'm going up to Mount Shasta right after this. I think I'm going to stop in
which is in
Santa
Northern
Cruz.
California.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
Awesome
this
place, by the way.
guy,
Beautiful.
Mick Dodge. He used to live in the Hoh Rainforest, and he told me to do something that I called him yesterday to ask him about, which is bury your feet in the earth, bowed up to in between calf and ankle, and stand there from sunrise to sunrise. And that's really plugging into the earth.
Sunrise to sunrise?
Yeah.
So at night.
24 hours.
So you could sleep, though, and have your feet buried.
Right.
Awesome.
Can I put a camera on you?
Dude, I'd be all about it. I'll go with you.
So if I don't do it this weekend, then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to do it somewhere here.
Do you know who Saint Germain is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the mountain.
Yeah.
I ran into that guy a bunch of times. It's trippy.
Cool.
It's trippy
So
stuff.
Bobby's all about. He was the first person to tell me all about taking your shoes off, walking barefoot, and why you have to connect to the earth and the minerals you're going to get from it, and the inflammation that's going to go out of you. And I didn't believe him. And then I just read. I go on like Google Scholar and I find some articles about it and some.
That was my barefoot this morning. 7,000 steps and back to the house with the dogs.
Where'd you go?
Piuma, started in the middle and worked my way up and came back down.
The other day,
It's so important.
I'm like 7 miles back on the trails, and I run into him and the dogs back there. He's got no shoes on, just
Nice.
walk. I see no one. I will hike for 10 miles, literally back in these woods, and not see a person for 10 miles. I'm coming down the hill, I'm running down. I'm like, oh, who is this freak? And all of a sudden, it's barefoot Bobby back in the mountain.
He's like, come with me. I'm going another quarter mile. I go, I'm going home.
Okay,
he goes, yeah, but I'll catch up to you. I go, you can do whatever you want. I'm going home. I'm not waiting. I've been out here for 2 hours. I got to go.
Listen, there's probably a lot of skeptics listening to this. Why is it that your body is able to absorb minerals from the earth? How's that happening? Through the pores in your skin?
3,000 pores in the bottom of your feet. I'll let Ronnie probably knows. Talk about the electricity that goes through your body and the connection, and the electromagnetic field, and all the stuff.
I mean, there's many different ways to explain this, right? But the Earth gets struck by lightning about 1,000 times a second, so all over the Earth. And then health in our body is determined by our cellular voltage, right? Our ability to transmit information electronically. And so if we want to charge ourselves like a battery, we really need to be contacting with the earth. And our hands and our feet, all of these things in our body are technology, right? Like we weren't evolved or made to be inside soft homes and wear rubber soles on our feet.
Nope.
So the technology of our body is made to do things like collect charge from the earth that we're walking on. But if we're just covered in feet, our shoes covering our feet all our entire life, then we can't even really conceptualize what that means. I'm at the point now where I can taste the earth. So where I am, my feet has developed a sensitivity where I can feel the difference of charge. I'm using the word taste depending on where I am on the earth, so I can feel the earth feels different going into my body.
It's different at the beach as it is in the mountains.
Yeah.
This Earthing magazine, 25 studies in the last decade proving proving that it raises the frequency in your body and gets rid of all inflammation. You cannot have inflammatory disease if your feet are on the ground. It gets rid of the inflammation as soon as you touch. You feel better in 30 minutes in most cases.
But what happens for people, we're lucky enough to live out here in the outdoors. What about people that are living in cities?
I want to add something to this.
Fine grass. You can actually contact, if you wet the cement, that will actually work.
Wetting.
Yeah. Wetting the cement will actually connect you to the earth, believe it or not.
And actually, grass isn't a good thing to ground on unless it's wet.
Yep. That's why it's dirt. Is dirt really dirty if it's real dirt? Right? I'm sure you've heard that one a billion times.
Yeah.
No, it's minerals going into your body. So, 3,000 pores on the bottom of your feet.
If people don't really understand this, dude, you know my CrossFit story. I'm massively injured everywhere, and so I wasn't training. And then I would just, because I owned a couple gyms, I would go to competitions. And I would win the small competitions, qualify for regionals and the big competitions, but I wouldn't be training. And so after several years of this not making any sense, I really had to figure this out to myself. Why am I producing so much power despite me not working out? And it was an accident. I just wasn't working out because I was injured. And every year the Open would come around and I would be like, oh, I guess I'll do this. I'll show up because everybody else is doing it. And then I would qualify for regionals. And it was because I was hanging out at the beach every day. Because that was like my happy place where I didn't have to deal with people telling me the toilet was clogged and employees complaining about stuff. So really, it makes you perform better in this physical reality. It's not just woo-woo stuff. Amongst other things, I used earthing to make myself stronger.
I've been doing it since the 90s. I've been running barefoot since the 90s, man. Before Born to Run came out. It's so important. So, I'm at the beach. If I'm not at the beach in the mountains, and you know where it came from? In 1991, when I started climbing, you know how small climbing shoes are, right? They make you wear extra small so you can really get on the little divots, little pieces. Every time you do a climb, what do? You come down on a sport climb. If you're doing a 100-foot climb, you come down. You take your shoes off. You're not going to put another pair of shoes on. You can't wait to get those things out because they're so cramped. Painful. And you're like, And then you're doing a route, but the route's 100 yards away. You're like, I don't need shoes. You throw your stuff in your bag and you walk. So that's where earthing started for me. I was like, I'm always barefoot when I'm climbing. Shoes are for the wall. I get off. Shoes are off. And so it never stopped. And then I started running, and I started liking the way it felt when I ran, and it just kept going. I mean, and the beach does a different thing for you when you do sprints. I was sprinting on the beach last night with the dogs up at Point Doom. I mean, like you said, we're blessed that we're in this area.
We've had Rich Diaz talk about it on. He said, I forget the biological term he uses, but you have all these sensors in your feet. And he's a big proponent of not using the big, he wants you to use as little of a sole as possible because you're, building your metatarsals, building all the structure and muscular activity around your foot so that you don't, you're not going to get injuries because your feet are able to tell and send signals to the rest of your body.
Saying, but if you're using super enormous amounts of weight, I've done this before, you better put some shoes on. You're deadlifting 700 pounds and, trying to squat enormous amounts of weight. Your arches are going to drop down. They're not used to, unless you build up to that with barefoot, would take, I don't even know if you could do it.
Well, it takes a lifetime. So it's very, very important for parents to have their kids barefoot as much as possible. Because what you were just talking about, the feet is where everything starts. All the structure starts in the feet, and then it works its way up. And it's not just muscular chains. It's all the esoteric, the energy meridians and everything, which are connected to your organs and your emotions. And so if your feet are just caged in shoes, then you're really a limited human being. And so if you're a kid who's always able to use all of your proprioception in your foot that goes up into your legs, into your core, into your brain and organs, then you're going to be really a full spectrum human.
And think about the beach. How many people wear shoes to the beach, right? Everybody's barefoot. Everybody's getting sun. Everybody's getting negative ions from the ocean. Everybody feels good. Pretty simple, and it doesn't cost anything. That's the greatest part about the whole thing.
That was the thing I didn't believe from you either, and then I researched it and found out you were right, the negative ions thing.
Yeah, so it's the beach and the mountains. Those are the two places, and they're different, and those are the two places. You're a king if you can live in those two places, be in the mountains and at the beach, and the mountains at the beach, and that's what this place gives. You get to do both. You can get to go up and down all the time. So did he tell you about the stratosphere machine? No. I have a pressure changing machine.
Yeah, we'll get to that because we have 1,000 questions and a lot of people. Bobby's got.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Bobby's got a hyperbaric chamber. Yeah, Bobby's got.
I was looking at at one of those when I was competing. I wanted to make one. Yeah, you just get in. It looks like something weird, like a coffin.
His is more than a coffin, but we have 1,000 questions from listeners, and a lot of them concern your hypobaric chamber, Bobby, and what the status of it is and what you're doing with it right now. He's showing Ronnie the picture of it right now.
Dude, look.
Oh, that's... I'm like, wait, those are people?
Those are people, brother.
Oh, yeah, mine wasn't that...
8'3" tall, 6'1" wide, built by guarded engineers that build space shuttles and submarines. That thing... I can take you to Everest in 30 seconds. The pressure changes. I'm putting negative ions in it, crystals.
You can completely move around in that.
Yeah. Treadmill, everything. I can't wait to put you in this. You're coming out to Phoenix with me, and I'm putting you in the chamber. Dude, you go in it once for 30 minutes, and you have a euphoric brain. You feel intellectually enhanced for 8 hours. I want to get this out so bad, and I know I can make a home version, and we could have 7 billion people have 7 billion chambers, and nobody has to get sick. And it's all the stuff we're talking about on top of pressure changes and moving every cell in the body simultaneously. Mm-hmm. Want to talk about getting rid of brain injuries, traumatic brain injuries? It's here. October 9th, Nobel Prize, 3 guys in Switzerland talking about hypoxia and how we thrive on hypoxic states. What does my machine do? Hypoxia. I'm trying so hard to move on this thing.
So explain a little more. There's people listening for the first time or are not familiar with it. Explain it a little more in depth.
This was my dream when I was actually competing like 6-7 years ago.
I'm riding a bike at 23,000 feet in that shot. 23,000 feet.
So,
dude.
But what people don't understand, because they're like, well, that's just like all these people training at altitude or in a hyperbaric chamber. Explain the difference between hypobaric and hyperbaric.
Hyper is you go to about a level of 10,000 and you pressurize and you do an oxygen. So you're mixing gas, right? So you're pressurizing yourself with oxygen to go into the tissues. Hypo is removing air, and I'm only working with ambient air, but I'm able with computer and software to change air pressures super fast. So I could do 1,000 feet a second up, and I could do 10,000 feet a second down. So you could be at 10,000 feet, and I take you to 15,000 feet. In 5 seconds, and then drop you back to 5,000 feet in just a couple of seconds, or 1 second. In that
so your
10,000.
body's never going to be able to acclimate.
Right. So it's always expanding, contracting, just like Ronnie does CrossFit. He's tricking his body all the time to go in different directions,
sure.
so it keeps being able to expand.
That's a bit of a muscular adaptation, though, where you're shocking your muscles. What you're doing here is your blood.
You're doing everything.
Every cell.
Yeah.
Every cell is... But the hyper also, like, there's different reasons why you would want more oxygen and less oxygen, right? So if you have more oxygen in a hyperbaric chamber, then your body is actually going to be able to perform more than normal. And that will take your muscles to a state of training that is intensified sort of unnaturally, right? Because you've gave it way more oxygen than normal. So that'll make your muscles work more than your heart and lungs can usually drive them. Mm-hmm. And then hypo will force the adaptation to perform with less oxygen, but also the change of pressure is really impacting the body's ability to use energy sources and be versatile doing that.
But aren't there,
flushing out the fluids, because a lot of health has to do with flushing out fluids, not just in our muscles, but like in our brain. Every tissue is every cell, the cell's ability to be healthy comes down to removing toxins and nutrifying itself. And so if the fluid movement through the body is helped by increasing or decreasing pressure, then the ability to remove toxins is massively...
So what are the toxins coming out? Through your urine, through your carbon dioxide, through what?
What, in pressure changes?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So we're all like vacuum cleaner bags, you know. We have 5 times the amount of lymph than we do blood. Could you imagine that? The only way to move the lymph...
We do?
Yes.
Whoa.
And the only way to move lymph...
Movement.
...is movement. Yeah. Medicine is movement. So if you move, you move in the lymph. So what this does, without you moving... is it moves everything. I go in the
sort of like a Myopux, like the electronic muscle stimulator that is moving your muscles to flush out all the waste.
But it's moving every single cell, not just a muscle, not just an area. So here's the crazy part. I went in, I did a bunch around 23,000 feet, you know, just pressure changes without any exercise. I did 60 minutes of this with all these pressure changes. And then I went really high. I did like one above 25, like somewhere around 27 for about 20 minutes. I go home. I take a shower. I go to get in bed with Marielle. And she's like, you can't get in bed with me. And I said, why not? And she said, you didn't take a shower. I said, I just got out of the shower. I was in the shower for 20 minutes. She goes, you smell. I go, what do you mean I smell? I go, that's not me. That's the dogs. She goes, no, that's you. You smell. She goes, what is that? And I smelled my skin. Pain thinners. You can't believe the stuff that was coming out from the pressure changes because it wrings you out like a vacuum cleaner bag. You're like wringing out the stuff because it's going expansion, contraction, unbelievable. 500 pressure changes.
But it's also increasing your red blood cells.
Oh yeah, it stimulates red blood cells just like you do in elevation. Everybody knows this is proven. Does some stuff with biomarkers, EPO. Then in turn, red blood cells, progenitor cells, and if you're doing that, your bone marrow is producing stem cells. You don't have to shoot for them. Your body will produce them just like they did when you were a teenager. Max. I mean, look at me. 57.
I know.
Right? It's insane.
Right.
So
and I got all this energy.
Let me ask you a question, though, about aren't there some dangers to having too many red blood cells? Too much red blood cells?
Yeah, your body self-regulates. You'll love this. I love these questions. Got 100 guys go through the stratosphere. They go see the guy. They go see the doctor. They get their blood taken, and the doc's like, what are these guys doing? And we're like, what do you mean? Well, they all have the same exact thing going on in their bodies. What do you mean? What do they have the same exact thing? They're blood markers. They're one marker below blood doping. Every single one of them. Your body self-regulates when you don't inject it and it's non-invasive. It knows that this is as far as it goes. It never goes past. If you do 20 sessions, you're one blood marker. If you do 100 sessions, you're one blood marker. Below blood doping. So in other words, you're having your best VO2 max day ever by using the machine. That's how profound it is. So if you ran a 5-minute mile and you use the machine, you'll go like 425. Same guy, 90 days. No drugs. And the Olympic Committee said
You're saying
okay
not
to this.
training, just using this.
Yep.
So the Olympic Committee's against it.
No. You'll love this. I had a conversation with Dave Joyner. This is what he says to me. We're getting rid of hyperbaric. I go, well, it's not hyperbaric. He's like, what do you mean? I said, it's hypo. What's the difference? I said, ambient air. Okay, I'm listening. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, where's the Olympic Training Center? He said, Colorado Springs. I go, yeah, 7,000 feet, right? He said, yeah. I go, you need to get rid of that place. You're cheating. And he just started laughing. He goes, all right, you got my attention. Put me on the phone with the scientists. I want to have a conversation. I'm speaking with Dave Joyner on Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time because he wants a machine. He's got one of the biggest sports medicine places in the Southwest in like Tallahassee, Florida. This is a guy. This is a head doc Olympic Committee, 96, 2004, and badass. NCAA finalist in wrestling, played for the Minnesota Vikings, big dude, orthopedic, but he's into expansive stuff now. So we're hoping to get a machine in there so he could do some studies there. What we're trying to do is place 3 machines, one for anti-aging, one for traumatic brain injury, and one for sports medicine.
What about the NFL? What about getting one?
NFL's the traumatic brain injury.
Why would they not want to invest?
Dude, they
want
to. I'm trying to get a hold of Tom Brady right now through one of my friends. The craziest thing for me, you guys, is anecdotally, it's only anecdotal. They want papers. So the Mayo Clinic's doing the studies now. We have the baseline studies done. It's supposed to be like biomarkers next, and then VO2 max, and then we're done with. If I tell you that you can run 30 seconds faster, if I can increase you 12%, 10%, 15%, depending on your level, who wouldn't want this?
Yeah.
And recovery, 1,000 times faster. Think about how fast you can recover if somebody does this to every cell in your body and everything.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the future. And I think everybody needs a pod. We can make carbon fiber pods really cheap that plug into 110 so that everybody can have a pod. And it's all about the software, what your physiology is doing. The stuff that he's saying, the stuff that he's so deeply into, that will be you'll have your own profile to understand that. And it'll give you all these things that are going on so you get to be your own doctor. You know, not for emergency medical care, but to know what's going on. It's no different than your wearables, you know, or how many steps you're taking, or what your heart rate is, and what your sleep is. Pretty cool.
I really like that. They didn't exist like as a room. When I was looking into them, it was just stuff you sleep in. And then the changing of going from hyper to hypo is
it's insane.
Yeah, that's next level. And I've never even heard of the changing thing, but I understand how on a cellular level that's going to dramatically increase efficiency.
And who knows what else, right?
Right.
You're like, these guys,
right, because there's
the guys that won a Nobel Prize are like, if you confuse the body, cancer cells won't grow. So they talked about hypoxia, more oxygen, less oxygen, and doing flux back and forth, and that's what they got the Nobel Prize for. You could look it up. New York Times, there's a whole bunch of them out there.
I saw the articles.
Yeah, it's insane.
And I wonder what it's doing like to the pineal gland also.
I don't know.
There's other things
that's stuff that they don't even look at.
Right, I know.
That's
Why?
that's deep.
What do you think that could possibly do?
Well, the pineal gland's attacked basically our entire life by the fluoride that's put in the water. It doesn't, fluoride calcifies, right? And so it's supposed to calcify in the teeth, but is also collected in the brain in certain areas. And the pineal gland depends on how woo-woo we want to make this. It's
the king gland.
Yeah, I mean, it also is absorbing light from the eyes, right? So it goes eyes, hypothalamus, pineal gland. And then the body's transmitting that light into melatonin. And the melanin in our skin, in our hair, in our eyes are grabbing the light. And then melatonin gets produced. And then when we are in deep sleep, the melatonin goes in through our body and regenerates everything. So that's all happening through the pineal gland and through the nervous system in our skin, hair, and eyes. And the pineal gland is very reduced, apparently, in size of what it normally should be.
But because of the fluoride?
Let's just say yes. But if we're moving the interstitial fluid and basically allowing the cells to regenerate, then our ability to recover during sleep is increased. But I think that it's not just simply melatonin going into the body and recovering physically. I think that the pineal gland is somehow connected to this etheric force, and that your body's recovering because it's getting in the codes from the light and regenerating with upgraded life force. That's kind of my understanding of what the pineal gland is doing when it repairs us during sleep.
And that's all part of third eye, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can also go the other way, and people use the pineal gland to visually see these codes, right? So normally we just talk about what it does to our body, but we can transport out.
Interesting enough, on my own gland, when I got iridology done to look at me almost 30 years ago to see what's going on with me, the nutritionist looked at me and he said, "You're going to be the healthiest sick person I've ever helped." And I said, "What does that mean?" He's like, "I looked in your eyes and I read everything and did the iridology and checked all these different things out." He said, "You have more plaquing in your body than somebody with full-blown cancer throughout their whole body. I've never seen anything like it." And he said, "I couldn't figure it out until I got the pineal gland." I said, "Well, what about it?" He goes, that thing is encompassed in layers of fat. It is so protected that it's the only thing keeping you going. I said, "Well," he goes to me, "When's the last time you ate some fat?" I go, "I ate fat today." He's like, "How many grams of fat do you take in?" I go, "I don't know, some 5 to 10, maybe." So I try to get 0. This is when I was doing squeezing the tuna fish and rinsing it out so there's no oil and nothing in it. And he said to me, he said, what percentage of body fat do you have? I said, "I think it's somewhere around 3. There's a lot of things that can't measure it." And he's like, "How long you been like that?" I go, "At least a decade. I'm doing men's fitness covers and men's journal. I'm the Soul Flex guy." Blah, 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 and he goes, "That's good." He goes, "I want you to start eating all raw fat, all raw meat, raw fish, raw milk, raw butter, raw eggs." He's like, "You're going to detox like you would not believe." I had acne coming out of my forearms. I was defecating black. It was just coming out of me. I had fevers. I had chills. I was sweats. I called them up, and the people are like, "It's because you ate raw chicken. You're going to die." And I'm like, "Well, this guy's saying otherwise." So he goes, "Keep going through it." 10 days of this. I was like shivering and eating raw stuff. Sure enough, man, I felt so much better. Everything started opening up. Everything started changing for me. I go in to see my agent after a month later, and he looks at me and he's like, "Wow, you look really good." He's like, "What are you doing different?" He goes, "You look great." It was because I started functioning normal. And I could actually comprehend what I read. And all these things just happen to you when you're clean.
And iridology is pseudoscience, I think, according to the regular scientific community. Obviously, it's not. It's the science of like looking at the irises, and that's the map to the body.
Yeah, all the different connections. And obviously, the funny thing about
I don't think it's pseudoscience.
Yeah, no.
Everything that works is pseudoscience.
And neither do they, because that's why they look at your eyes.
Right.
Yeah, right? And the Chinese medicine is big on the eyes, right? The eyes are like a map to the soul, just like you're saying. And regular doctors, MDs, look at the eyes, but they don't look deeply. They go, we learned this much, and that's what I know about your eyes, and that's where we stop. And you're like, well, what about these spokes, and what about these dots? That means nothing. You don't know anything. We don't need to talk about that. We need to, you know what I mean? So that's where they get cut off. They don't expand. The whole thing about what we're talking about, expanding and uneducating ourselves, because you imagine we all went to Harvard, Yale, and Stanford, and we've read the same books. You're a doctor, every doctor, and we just say the same thing to everybody. This is how it works. I'm like, but there's more. No, there's not. You read these books. Stick to the curriculum. You give out this medicine. You give out this, and I give it. That's the crazy part. I love emergency medical care. It's profound. My dad, the other day, heart attack. Goes in the hospital. He's got his general practitioner never checked his heart in 20 years.
Why?
I don't know. I don't even understand what he's talking about. I always thought when he went to the general practitioner, he was getting his heart checked. So he's got a blocked left main, blocked left.
He had
LED.
clearly done blood work on him, though.
They do a little bit of blood work, but nothing shows up showing plaquing on the heart. So what ended up happening? What ended up happening is his right ventricle, one of the right ventricles or something, closed a week ago. Right, it was almost closed. My dad kept saying to my mom, I got some chest pain and I got some tingling in my arms. My mother's like, oh, what's going on? He goes, well, I went off my medicine. She's like, completely? You know, he was on statins or whatever. She's like, he's like, yeah. She said, you can't do that. He goes, well, I'm taking these herbs, the stuff that Bob gave me. And she said, but he told you to wean off it. You've been on it for 20 years. So the guy took blood work and all that stuff. My dad was having little mini heart attacks for like a week.
So you gave your dad a heart attack?
So he goes in, thank God. Right? I look at it from this. He goes in, they look at all the blockages, they see everything, and right away, shaved his arm, stuck the tube up there, went in his heart, put a stent in, opened him up. He goes, wow, do I feel good. He goes, I feel like I go home right now. Let me just get up and go. And they're like, well, we want to monitor you overnight and see what's going on. And so they monitored him, and they sent him home for 10 days, and they're talking about, you know, I think like you, I'm like, wow, he's got 10 days and he's stable and he's good and he can go for walks and he's got this stint. Why don't we just clean him out? See how good he could do, because they could look at the arteries and see how much plaque starts to come out instead of taking the vein from the leg and doing a bypass. I'm like, and they said that he had a bunch of new veins all around his heart. That's how he was functioning. My dad was riding a bicycle 10 miles a day, going to the beach, all this stuff. But he's got plaquing and blockage. Oh, it's so disheartening, because if you met my dad, you would think that he was 60 and he's 81.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I have met your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's thin and in good shape. And
the statins thing is kind of wild. It's been a while since I studied about cholesterol, but I don't know if you know anything about this, Bobby, but from what I remember, I think that statins reduce the cholesterol that your body makes as a result of not having enough dietary cholesterol. So if you're not eating enough cholesterol, your body's going to make some like bitch-made cholesterol that's not as efficient as dietary cholesterol. And then that's the stuff that statins reduce. So if people were just eat more cholesterol, real animal products, fatty stuff, then the cholesterol will perform correctly. And cholesterol is a vital component of animals. That's why it's in animals.
What's the bad cholesterol, the too high part?
I forget I think it's
LDL's, I think, the bad, or the HDL. LDL.
It's one of those two. And I think my dad's body naturally makes too much of one.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's what they're saying. And as a family
history. And then the statin reduces what your body makes. But maybe that's your body's going to make cholesterol if you're not eating enough cholesterol.
Right. That's the thing I think.
So we've got society saying don't eat cholesterol. So everyone's brainwashed to do that. Then the body's like, what the fuck? This person's not a good hunter. We need to make our own cholesterol, and it's bad for you. It's
a trip.
Yeah, LDL's the bad one.
LDL. So I think my dad makes too much LDL, and it must be. You know what he does, dude? This is going to knock 60 years of this since he's like in his 20s. Peanut butter sandwich on white bread, couple of cookies, maybe a piece of cake, and a glass of pasteurized milk at 9, 10 o'clock at night for 60 years straight. I wonder if that sugar could,
I was just
could
going to say,
possibly plaque up anything in your body.
My dad is a cardiologist. It is one of his best friends, and I'm actually friends with the guy too, and I talk to him a lot about this stuff. And my dad has good genetics. Both his parents lived to be 96. My dad was prescribed, he's 84, he was prescribed a statin years ago. And I said to my cardiologist friend, why did you give my dad a statin? And he said, because he's got high cholesterol. And I said, forgive me if I'm wrong. I said, I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. But I said, I've read some. And I go, isn't the cholesterol high because there's inflammation around his heart? Like the cholesterol's going to cure the inflammation. To repair it. And he said, yes. He said, the problem is you get too much cholesterol in the artery and it can block it, and then the blood's not getting through, and then you have a heart attack. He said, so we have to, by American Medical Association standards, we have to eliminate that cholesterol. And I said, but wouldn't we be better to eliminate the inflammation so the cholesterol wouldn't need to be made to go there? It's like phlegm. Phlegm goes when you have inflammation. You have a sore throat. Phlegm is created to cure that, to make that inflammation go away. You have, and he said, yes, that is true. That is right. It would be best to get rid of the inflammation. He goes, but I can't do that. I can't make your dad change his lifestyle and make him exercise and eat properly. What I can do is prescribe a pill that he takes every day that will make and I go, this seems like we're just managing symptoms. And he said, we are. It was funny. We got in an argument, and if he listens to this, which I doubt he does, he'd give me shit for this. We got in an argument about it, and he said, I remember him telling me I was an idiot. He goes, you're an idiot, you're an idiot, you're an idiot. You can change your diet, but you can't change your genetics. And I said, but my dad's genetics. He goes, you're an idiot. And then about 3 or 4 years later, he calls me and he goes, this is the doctor. And he goes, what do you know about coconut oil? He goes, I'm thinking about cooking with it. I've heard it's really good for you. And I go, fuck off. You called me an idiot because I was talking to you about dietary changes on my dad. Fuck you. I'm not giving you any of my info. And he's like, well, I'm just saying. And I went, how are you a cardiologist and you don't know about coconut oil and using, healthy oils and trying to be anti-inflammatory and lower your omega-6 fatty acids to bring up the ratio with the omega-3 and the omega-6.
369, yeah.
But I've talked to Rob Wolf about this, and Rob Wolf has said that it was up to the American Medical Association and the Doctors of America, the entire country would be on a statin, like a preventative statin, like we'd be taking it as a multivitamin.
That's crazy. So on two things. One on the genetics, but first on the plaque. Do you know that the plaque in your teeth is identical to the plaque that's in your blood?
I did not know that.
You take a rubber tip in the morning, depending on what you ate the day before. Don't brush your teeth. Stick it underneath your gum line. Take it out and put it on like a little white washcloth, and it plaques up like egg yolk within a minute or two. It's like this yellow plaque that's identical to the. So that's why dentists, really good hygienists, and homeopathic dentists say that if you clean your teeth after every meal and you really floss and you really get down there, you'll get a decade more out of your life because you'll have less plaque going into your blood. All this is a system, right? The saliva, all that stuff, and the food that you eat and what you leave in your mouth that ferments and all this. And on the genetic thing, on the stratosphere, Bruce Johnson. I can't wait to send this to you. You could look at it, stuff that he wrote and the stuff with the Nobel Prize. Within 24 to 48 hours of using the machine one time, your DNA uploads differently. You have a genome expression change. How insane is that? So what Ronnie's doing is changing his genetics by living his life this way.
Well, let's step back a bit to the plaque thing.
Yeah.
If you're looking evolutionary-wise, humans didn't brush their teeth. They probably chewed leaves and did whatever.
Sticks. There's a bunch of stuff that they do you could do, and it works equally as well.
Right.
I forget the name of that.
Neem bark?
Huh?
Neem bark?
Yep. Neem bark is a really good one. You play around with those sticks with your teeth, chew on it and all that. But the biggest cleanser is your saliva.
Oh, saliva.
Yeah, it's cleaning all the time. All the time. And it depends on what you eat and spaces in your teeth and what diet you had, what your grandfather had, your mother had, how much sugar. Weston Price. You know Weston? Okay, so he should have won a Nobel Prize for the 40 years that he did on dentistry and disease, and proved 100% that you can't be doing root canals and all these weird things.
Can you stop? This one doesn't let me sleep at night.
What, the root canals? Because you got them? You got a bunch of
dude. So
bunch of metal in
I
there?
have 2 broken teeth in the back of my mouth, and they've been like 6 years because I don't want to get a root canal, and I don't know what to do. I don't know the answer.
Oh, so you're on the root canal thing too?
Dude, of course.
Oh,
these
fuck.
are
No root canal here, baby.
Can I take a picture of that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bobby just took his front teeth out for us. That is awesome.
I'm being told by half a dozen dentists that I talked to, within 5 years, guess what, dude?
we're growing teeth.
You're growing them back. They're already doing it with lab animals. They're taking their time.
With vibration? Is that how they're doing it?
Just exactly the way that you did it for your baby teeth. They're going to be able to reproduce that same thing. It's an enzyme. They place it. It's like planting a seed, setting everything up, placing it properly, and boom, it'll take and adhere, and a couple of other things that go with it that I don't know about. But I have one dentist that's put millions of dollars of his own money into that itself, and it's going to happen, 100%. There's no. I was ready to get this done because I'm in front of the camera and all that stuff. Oded Bahat is the guy's name. Anybody look him up, they'll be like, oh, famous guy that invented root canals, wrote books on it, blah blah blah. I had a friend of mine. She said, "Do you ever do pro bono stuff? Because this is expensive, as you could imagine." So he's like, yeah, sure. And she was kind of dating him at the time. I got a friend, he's a stuntman for 25 years, and he got his teeth knocked out riding bulls and doing all this stuff. And she said, would you be willing to work on him? And he's like, yeah, sure. He didn't want to, but because he's dating her, like, he thinks he's going to get something out of the deal. So I go in and I meet him. He looks at me and he says, let's see what you got. Take some x-rays, looks at some stuff, looked at my dental records, and he said, the only thing you have to do is pay for the anesthesia. He goes, it's $2,500. He said it'd take 18 months for that to heal. He's like, are you a second best guy? I said, no. And he said, great. He goes, you don't want any bones from cadavers? I go, no. And he goes, yeah, I don't like putting the dead into the living. So he said to me, I could take bone from your hip or I could take bone from your head. He goes, you got a big head, so I'm taking bone from your head. He goes, I just have to shave part of it in the back. He said, I go, what about bone from my hip? The hip's right there. I mean, the bone's right. It's accessible. It'll be so easy. He's like, I have people that have gotten bone from their hip. It's 2 years later, and they're still in pain. He said the head always heals. It's got more nerve endings. So I was like, all right, great. What do we do? He goes, we take a chunk of bone out. We put it here. We put it up in there. It all heals up. You eat all this really good food. You do all this stuff. Then I put the implant in. We let that all heal up, and it comes around it. And then he goes, and then we put the teeth on. I was like, okay. And he goes, and then we do tissue last, to surround it so it looks real and natural. And I was like, all right, great. And I go to get my teeth cleaned by a holistic dentist. She goes to me, you're going to get implants in your front teeth? I was like, yeah. She said, you know what she says? You like sex? I go, of course. She goes, where do you think the Meridians go to your front teeth? She goes, reproductive. She goes, you won't have sex anymore. Somebody with a body like yours that's always detoxing and eating clean, it'll try to kick those things out. You don't want any metal in your mouth. I go, what about zirconium? She goes, it's another form of metal. Might be a little bit better, a little bit more bioidentical. She goes, don't do anything. She goes, get a flipper and get somebody to do a good job. Nobody will even know. It'll look great. You'll be fine. She goes, and? She's like, in 5 years, 10 years, you'll be able to grow your own teeth back. You're not going to need any of this. So I'd much rather do this. I eat with it. I could bite apples. I've managed, Does it look bad? No. People are like, that's a flipper? Fuck, they did a good job, So your stuff in the back, you should do something like this only to keep everything organized. Like the braces, they put the clear brace. You got to do something because it will shift. Eventually, it'll start shifting because you're missing a spot, right? And the thing lines up and you're biting every day, the mascating. So that's a huge piece. My buddy Ryan had the same thing in the back of his mouth. And he went to this dentist and he got a flipper and his teeth felt better. His bite felt better because he did it for like 5 years. He was missing.
So you said something about the energy meridians, and I think that's an important thing that maybe not a lot of people know, is that the teeth are like the switches for the energy meridians. If you imagine looking at a battery and how the what are those things called? Terminals? Mm-hmm. They corrode. And so that corrosion is similar to the corrosion of our teeth. And then that affects the current of life force that's going through your energy meridians, which science is now like very one-dimensionally surface level validating that energy meridians are a thing, but it's very, very deep. Everything's connected to organs, to emotions, and so the energy meridian that goes to the testes, what is she saying, goes to the front teeth?
Yeah.
So I know that, so there's actually studies where people that have cancers and sicknesses in organs directly related to tooth problems.
Yeah.
And
that's Weston Price. You just look up Weston Price. And anybody who wants to see this, it's a little scary with your metal in your mouth. Netflix, The Root Cause. Watch this film. It'll blow your mind.
When I went to Dr. Ty, who you sent me to, he looked in my mouth and he saw, earlier work that I had done. I've had broken teeth. I've had my mouth has just been horrendous my whole life. These were all broken. My brother hit me with a pool ball, threw it right in my face. He looked in and he said, "We're getting this shit out of here." And he was like, "We need to get in here and get this all out." So I think every bit of metal has been taken out of my mouth.
Yep.
Because, porcelain's been put in.
That's awesome.
But had to get all that metal out of there.
Yeah, good for you, man. Yeah. Congratulations on that.
I think I might have one little thing in there. I might. I forget. But I'll probably get it out. But Bobby makes me not sleep at night talking to me about all the cancers and
goes
everything.
To sleep, he's thinking the metal's coming to get him.
Yeah. Terrifying. All right, let's switch over to Bobby to Ronnie. Ronnie, what do you like better?
I am Raw.
He's Raw. Raw posted a video the other day, which I reposted because I found it hilarious. That's what's so great about you. You have a sense of humor about this all too. Like, you don't take yourself too seriously. Like, you really believe your stuff, which is great. And you.
Do you shave your fingers?
No, I don't. But I have. You know what I've noticed? I have short hair, like knees, hands. During the winter, when
they're prickly.
When I put my hands in my pockets, like I have hairy hands, I lose all the hair. Like, I'll lose the hair when I wear pants on my legs. I'll lose on my calves. I lose all kinds of weird hair.
All right, apologies for cutting you off.
Anyway, what I was saying is, you
shave your fingers.
Yeah. He's got a very good sense of humor, though. And most people like you take themselves too seriously. So you posted this video of you and your buddies sunning your buttholes.
Yeah.
Can you explain?
Dude, that video, it was like 5 minutes total of my life. We decided to make the video. We set it up. I shot one take. One of the guys' dick and balls were in the video, so I was like, we can't do that, so we needed to adjust. Second take, boom, nailed it, and posted it. And now it's this huge thing. Like, I have actually on Facebook a bunch of like indigenous people that are like battling me. They want to be victimized so much by this because there was teepees in the background.
Oh my God.
Because of what?
Because where we shot this video, there was teepees, and apparently, I don't know. They want to. Their pain body is triggered by seeing people.
People will always find some
totally
way to
pain body.
Yeah,
you are the pain body. You are not the pain body. He's so good. So sun on the genitals. Okay,
yeah.
Sun just on the skin, right? Just on the chest and back, shirt off. 120% raises your hormone levels. 20 minutes of it. 200% to get it on your genitals. Your ass, I don't know anything about that. We're from New York. You got an exit-only sign back there, and that's what goes on in the back. But I get the sun on my testes every day. Yeah. Every day in that box outside that you saw. Every day.
I'm not really living in a house anymore, but I had homes, and that was like a prerequisite for me to have a house, is I need to be able to be naked in the sun. We've got solar cells all over our body. They need to be intaking sun.
Isn't it insane how simple it is? But people are like, what are you talking about? You need to cover up. It's like you said about the rubber shoes. That came out because I know about it because of this. In the 1950s, PF Flyers, after World War II, right in the beginning of the 50s, they were like, I got a great idea. Let's stop making leather-soled shoes and let's start making rubber-soled shoes. That's when inflammation started, they're saying. More inflammation started over the next decade from that. It's insane. It's so simple.
It's crazy. Imagine next time you're taking a hike, look at the bottom of your shoes, and then imagine the trail is just coated in that plastic, rubbery, 1-inch thick mush. that's essentially what you're walking on, as opposed to the Earth. It's nuts.
Dude, I have a sandstone trail. How spoiled are we? I mean, you could sprint. It's so comfortable.
Where?
The one from the top of the rocks where I climb down to the road. Or down to right before you split and go left toward your house. That whole thing is sandstone.
Yeah, I know
to
where
the
you're
top.
talking. Yep.
Sandstone to the top. Dude, I'm talking 12,000 steps of sandstone.
And so, like, we are Earthlings, in case people forgot. And when we walk on the Earth, our energetic signature gets rematched to the Earth. So even though there's dirty electricity everywhere in our homes, we're carrying around radiation devices, we've got 5G, whatever, satellite stuff, and chemtrails is changing the light that's coming into the atmosphere. No matter all this stuff that's happening, when you're on the Earth, it's like a reset. You're just resetting back to the frequency of the Earth.
Honor your ancestors. Honor this thing that's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years old, and that's how it functions.
Let's talk about too much sun. I go to the dermatologist.
Early morning, late afternoon.
Okay. I go to the dermatologist recently to have this little thing on my head looked at. And she's like, oh, just shoot some cortisone in there and it'll go away. And I was like, I don't really want cortisone in me, And she's like, well, it's not cancerous, blah, blah, blah. She goes, let me look at your rest of your body. And she just starts circling shit. I felt like I was a sorority girl at a party where they're circling your fat. And she's like, here. And she goes, this one looks bad. She goes, this one looks bad. She goes, let's take a biopsy where they scrape it off, scrape the mole off, send it away. She comes back. She goes, one of them's atypical. And I said, what does that mean? She goes, there's basal. It's not cancerous, but it can turn cancerous. And I went, okay. She goes, so we're going to need to do an operation. We're going to cut all the skin around it. We're going to do an incision, take this out, sew it back together. And I was like, and I started thinking, I go, no one in my family's ever had, no one in my family, why is this going? No one in my family's ever had skin cancer, melanoma. Although I was in a lifeguard, spent 3 summers every single day, no sunscreen on the beach. Every day, 8 hours a day. I surf all the time. I'm constantly in the sun. I usually have a wetsuit on though, so it's not going through there. So I was very curious. I talked to a friend that was in functional medicine. They said, don't trust a dermatologist if they're selling lots of products in their place because they're all about making money. Maybe get a second opinion from someone who's good. So I talked to every doctor friend I have, and every single one of them was like, get that shit taken off. Go get that. You're lucky you caught this. Get that out. Get that out. Get that out. So I'm making the appointment to get it cut off because they scared me. I mean, when you hear it from enough doctors, you go, but I'm like, my parents were in the sun their whole life. No one had a melanoma. They're both 84 years old.
My dad got some of those cut off. It wasn't cancer, but he had a couple of them cut off. He's in his 80s, though.
Yeah.
His skin's not as good as your skin, but
I had that mole, I felt like forever.
Yeah, but you just said that you spent too much time out in the device that charges us.
I was a fisherman at 14 years old. Clams and mussels.
Yeah.
So you could imagine being out in a boat in the water in the Great South Bay on Long Island. We did that 14, 15, 16, 17. That's a lot.
So what you're saying I've overdone it.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't. It's just like if you took the charger of your iPhone and somehow hooked it up to a 220 volt system, it's gonna fry your iPhone.
Yeah.
Just like getting too much charge from the sun's electricity. It's bringing electricity codes from the rest of the galaxy into the Earth, into us. And so if you're doing that too much, then you're gonna burn, and you're going to disrupt the natural flow through your body.
Dude, look how he's naturally dark skinned. You see how tan I am? I'm as light as you.
Yeah. I'm
pretty light skinned. I have blondish hair, blondish eyebrows and all that stuff, eyelashes. And so sun from right now, I'm getting it at 6:57 a.m. until the sprinklers come on at 8, and we're about to fall back. So I'm going to get extra sun now because it kicks back an hour. So that's it. That's my sun. Now, when I go hiking through the mountains on the side that I'm talking about, it's in and out of sun.
Right.
And that's my sun. And then sunset up at Zuma, an hour of that. Do you know how awesome? I mean, I live the most spoiled life for health that there could be imagined, I feel.
I know, and just for people listening, I do want to mention this too. So I've gone down every wormhole about sunscreens because of being out there constantly. The one thing I heard a famous surfer say once, don't put anything on your face that you wouldn't put in your mouth. And
that's huge.
So we have, our bodies are full of, pores all over our bodies. And most of the sunscreens that people are using they've taken out a lot of the really shitty stuff, but there's still shitty stuff in them, and they go straight into your pores. So you want to get anything with no nanoparticles, because the nanoparticles can go through your bloodstream, and your skin's your biggest organ. So you put it on, and boom, it's going into your bloodstream. And that's how those work, like the sprays and the sunscreen sprays, they go in to like activate your skin to create this like protection. Whereas if you use something like a zinc oxide, I'm going to have to put this on pause for a second.
Ronnie, green juice, anything?
Green juice is good. Yo, Hunter's calling.
Hunter.
Okay, so you may have remembered a few weeks ago, I talked to you about a new discovery I made of a thing called Everly Well. And it's an amazing at-home wellness test that helps you better understand your health. So I got involved with this. The next thing I know, I received my Everly Well at-home lab test and tested myself. Okay. I am going to post a video on Instagram Instagram and Facebook showing me take the test. It's this really easy test where you like prick your finger and then you just put on the paper your little blood spots that then go away, and you put it in the mail, and then a few days later you receive the results, and you're going to find out everything. You're going to get such a better understanding of your health. It's given me a completely new outlook. And I've got all this information now that I can use. They offer all different kinds of at-home lab tests. So there's like 30 different ones. There's tests from fertility to food sensitivity to thyroid to heart health. This is all done. You don't have to go to a doctor's. You don't have to pay all that money. You don't have to have lab work done. You're basically having lab work done at a much, much cheaper rate, straight into your house, saving you the time. Each Everly Well test comes with super easy to follow instructions. Every test is physician reviewed, and the shipping's free. Your results come from certified labs, and they're sent directly to your mobile device so you can easily view and share them with your healthcare provider. You're not waiting for something to show up in the mail. Boom. Showing up right on your phone like that. And it's going to change the way you feel, because you're going to be able to look and go, my this is low, or my that's low, or I need to eat more of this, or I should maybe see a doctor about this. It's a really good way to be proactive and get a hold of your health. So start getting a better understanding of your health now, like I did. Check out Everly Well today. That's Everly Well. And if you want 15% off an Everly Well at-home lab test, go to everlywell.com/wadcast. That's Everly, everlywell.com/wadcast. everlywell.com/wadcast. Enter the code WADCAST also. That's everlywell.com/wadcast, code WADCAST for 15% off your test. Everly Well at-home lab test. Your answers, your way. Hey, I got a great idea for you right now. Go to thegainsbox.com. That's THEGAINZBOX.com and get all your monthly fitness needs delivered to you. Okay? This is awesome. You sign up for Gainsbox, and every month you're going to get all kinds of cool stuff at a really, really inexpensive price. Okay? You're going to go on the website, thegainsbox.com. You're going to select a plan. You're going to fill out your athlete profile. You're basically going to tell them who you are, what kind of person you are. And then it's going to give you gift options and cancellation. It's not one of these places that makes it hard to cancel. They make it very, very easy. And you're going to get the best fitness brands in one package. That's every month. Boom, box shows up. Yay, it's Christmas in your house. You're going to get a mix of apparel, gear, supplements, and snacks. I'm going to say that again. Apparel, gear, supplements, and snacks. And it's definitely for sure worth double the cost. So you're never going to pay full price again because you're going to be getting this stuff at such an inexpensive price. It's worth doing. Here's the thing. It's all customized by size and gender, and it's a mix of mostly full-size products and samples. So you're going to get some samples, you're going to get some full-size stuff, and it's curated by industry experts. These guys know CrossFit, they know the business, they know functional fitness, they know what you use, what you like, and what you need. They're picking it for you. So if you're not so sure, this is the best way to try like different supplements, different protein powders, different exercise equipment. You get to sample it, and then you can go, oh yeah, I need to buy more of this. It's the best way to kind of figure out at a cheap price what you need, what you should be taking, what's going to help you. Order now at thegainsbox.com and buy your first box, and you're going to get a second special bonus box free. Okay, that's valued at $70. Not going to pay $70, but that's valued at $70. You got to put in the code WODCAST though at thegainsbox.com. That's TheGainzBox.com. Make sure you put in that code WODCAST. You know what I'm taking on my trip, over 68 miles? Yeah, I'm taking some Tiger Balm. I have read that a lot of ultramarathoners use it. And though I don't consider myself an ultramarathoner, I know that I can experience a lot of pain. And what helps me when I'm in pain? Tiger Balm. That's right. You know, I get hurt and I am sore and my muscles are hard to reach. And when it's tough to get to them, that's when I use the Tiger Balm Active Muscle Spray. It's the best way to help relieve muscle pains in those hard to reach areas. Okay? Don't have to get my wife to do it anymore. It's non-greasy and it's easy. Just throw it in my bag, take it with me wherever I go. I have some sitting in the little glove compartment of my car, my truck. And they have other great workout products too. They've got Tiger Balm Active Muscle Rub, which is perfect for pre-workouts to warm up your muscles. They've got Tiger Balm Active Muscle Gel. It's another post-workout one that you can just rub in, and that's for the easy to reach areas. Here's what you're going to do. If you want this stuff, there's no code, there's no website. It's pretty simple. You're going straight to CVS, you're going to Walgreens, you're going to Rite Aid. They all have it. That's right. You just go in, like I said. You go in there, you scream at the top of your lungs, Tiger Balm! You have to do it like that. You have to go, Tiger Balm! And then people are going to come out from the counter and they're going to be like, you're a crazy person. And you're like, I just need Tiger Balm. And they're going to point to where it is. And then you run there and you tackle the Tiger Balm. You just take it off the shelf. You put it in your pocket. No, you get arrested for stealing. Don't put it in your pocket. Walk to the counter with it. Walk. Don't run. Walk. You've acquired the Tiger Balm. Take it to the counter. Pay for it. They're going to give it to you with a receipt. And then you leave. And then you slap this Tiger Balm on you. And you're going to feel so much better. And you're going to thank me. So check it out. CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens. Get your Tiger Balm. Get the Active Muscle Spray. Get the Muscle Rub. Get the Muscle Gel. That's Tiger Balm Active.
Juice, anything?
Green juice is good. Yo, Hunter's calling.
Hunter.
Hey, I want to see you with a mullet, man. I want to see that head in a mullet.
What?
So you shouldn't spend time with homeless people. They carry diseases.
What's going on, dude?
Hey, Bobby.
How are you,
I was
man?
calling. I need your guys' help. I need someone's help. I got all my wallet and my phone and everything stolen from me at the beach in Miami, and I might be landing in L.A. tomorrow.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We got a weak signal.
He's just saying that because he doesn't want any. He's just saying because he doesn't want any negativity in our conversation.
I think he's mad.
Dude, somebody, if he's got his stuff
I gotta.
stolen, I'd be mad.
No, I gotta. We gotta call him back because I think he might be in some
Ask
trouble.
him why he had his stuff stolen. Why did
He won't be able to answer that.
No.
You're coming at him with a heavy duty thing there.
I think he was mad.
Hey, do you have any green juice, or is this for us?
Sure. FaceTime Hunter McIntyre.
Green juice.
So what I was saying
Say
was,
greens and celery. it's a combo.
So what I was saying is, zinc oxide is like the only thing. No nanoparticle zinc oxide is the only thing you should put on you that I use now constantly, and I put it on my face when I'm out there. And so what do you need from us? You're on the show, by the way, right now. You're on the show.
Whole thing?
I take half, you take half. He won't drink the gin.
I got all my stuff stolen, dude, and I'm showing up to the airport tomorrow with no credit cards, and my car's parked at long term, so I can't get my car out.
So you need one of us to help you.
I might need one of you guys to swipe a card. I'm trying to find somebody who's down in Santa Monica to help me out, but all my friends live in Malibu, so if I don't find something in the next
Can you
couple hours, I might
Venmo
need
somebody
someone
there to
me
just
for
give
me.
them like $40 cash?
Yeah, just call me and let me know. I'll help you if you need something. I have a podcast at 4, but I'll be down there. I'll cut this out of the show.
You want me to cut? You want me to cut my picture out of my passport? Take a picture of you, put it in, and send you the passport overnight?
Yeah, dude, it sucked. I had such a great weekend. I kicked ass.
Call me tonight. I'll help you out if you need it.
I'll help you too, dude. Whatever you need.
Enjoy the podcast. Hope to see you guys soon.
We'll send cash.
Goodbye.
So the butthole sunning is actually in the Tao of Sexology, if you want to look up that book.
I just want to sun my butthole.
In Taoism, the perineum is actually a very important gate to bring in.
The perineum's the taint, right?
Yeah.
Or the grundle.
It's the guy
Yeah.
right in between the back door and the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That if you look at it closely, it looks like it's where you're sewn together. There's like a line down it.
It's like where it was a vagina.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that's exactly
No,
what
I
it
mean,
is.
my shit wasn't sewn. I never had a vagina. I'm running away from that theory.
Let us see it.
My testicles came first when I came together. You
you
got two
just-
cells. I had two testicles, and then I came out. I'm all mad. It's so funny that we're girls first. It's just insane to me. I'm like, what are you? No.
Are we really?
You know, your testes aren't developed first. It's like we're human beings, and we're the same.
Correct.
Until-
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the male-female thing, that's a dualistic. I mean, obviously, we have penises, they have vaginas, but all the parts are in all of us.
Yeah.
Like the clit is the penis.
I'm not squirting milk out of my nipples, though.
But you have nipples.
True.
Yeah, which means
But they're vestigial features.
You hear the theory?
What does that mean?
It means they shouldn't be there, and they'll go away probably.
Then,
Your nipples?
No, bro, they're there.
We had a tailbone. It's gone. I mean, our tailbone, we had a tail. Our tail's gone. It's a vestigial feature.
You think your nipples are going to go away?
Yeah, your nipples go away. So will your fingernails.
You don't have nipples right now?
So your
Is that what you're
fingernails.
saying?
Your nipples are going to go, not yours or mine, but as humans evolve, male nipples are going to go away.
I hear the
I don't know,
opposite. I
bro.
hear that men are going to carry kids, and that's why they're there. It's going to evolve the other way around. Somehow or another, we're going to be able to carry kids. How insane is that?
I don't want to do that. I don't. As my friend says, I can't even. If somebody says to me, "Can you hold this?" I'm like, "Nah, I can't." I could never carry a baby. I'm not capable. Women.
Dude, nipples are important. It's just like if you look at it from an American standpoint, yeah, they do nothing. But this is like where the mother feeds a child. This is a very important
Life.
part of our body, including males. Like there's a lot of energy meridians. We're just talking about the teeth, right? So at one point in your life, you thought the teeth were not important. And you got all this shit in your mouth, and now you can't sleep. But yet, in the same conversation, you're telling us that nipples are not important.
What I'm
So
saying,
you could get your nipples removed.
No, he's saying that.
What
it's
I'm
just gonna
saying
go
is
away.
that, like, as we evolved, I learned this in Intelligent Life in the Universe in college, which was rocks for jocks too. When I went to college, I was running track. They were like, "Here's the classes you're going to take. You're an idiot." And the first one was rocks for jocks, which was geology, and then the one after that was Intelligent Life in the Universe. And what I learned was that as we've evolved, we don't, as we've evolved from apes, we don't use our fingernails and toenails like we used to, because of the comforts of whatever we have. There are certain things we don't use anymore. Like we grow less hair on our bodies, except on our fingers. We don't.
When you shave your fingers.
We have a tailbone.
Eddie shaves his knuckles.
Oh, I shave my chest though. You do too.
I shave my chest.
No, you have
I
to.
started shaving for the sports magazines. Now I'm an ape.
I can't grow hair on my chest anymore. But I would have like 12 stragglers. That's what my chest would look like Ronnie's face.
What are you saying? Ronnie's got a Fu Manchu?
But that's all the hair he can grow.
Yeah,
On your whole face?
There's
Yeah.
nothing here.
Wow.
There's actually a couple strands.
Okay, so wait. So what? Let me get this.
Let him finish, and then I'm going to talk about the antennas of your hair. We definitely got to talk about that.
Right.
So the tailbone is the coccyx bone. It was a tail.
It's
We
all
used to have
there,
a
though.
It's there, but we don't grow a tail any longer. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, we're eventually not going to have fingernails and toenails, and we're not going to have nipples.
So that's somebody's theory of evolvement.
I don't think I necessarily subscribe to evolutionary theory. By
Right,
the way.
evolutionary theory could be, couldn't be.
It's fucking garbage.
Yeah, that's where, especially from somebody who shaves his fingers.
So what do you believe? What do you believe?
Dude, alien intervention for sure. Our genes are obviously spliced. You can see them. There's I mean, we are the extraterrestrials though. So
You believe we came from another planet, or we've had another species introduced into us?
probably a little bit of both. But in our genetic sequencing, the chromosomes, I forget, it's the number 2, right? The second chromosome looks like it was 2 chromosomes put together. You probably know more about that than I don't know if you're subscribed
I know a bit
to
of
this.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
I always say to everybody, because you're a B. You're a B. What are you? You know?
Yeah, the blood type thing.
You still don't know? The blood type thing's huge on it. You know, you're more connected to that stuff than I am. I'm an O blood type. The O negative. You know, we run with the buffalo. It's like I'm American Indian too, and all that. I always say to Marielle, because she's an ARH negative, that she's more connected to the ethereal stuff and more of the other life and on other planets. I believe it's there. I've never seen it. I don't know what it is. I mean, there's Area 51. You can get into all kinds of crazy stuff. But I'm very big on Earth and earthing and grounding and American Indian and animals and totems and just the things that we have here. I believe in all the stuff out there. And dude, how vast is it when you look up?
But
at night?
you're here now.
Right. And I love that. I love that you're going to go to sleep, and if, you know 100%. Nobody's ever said that to me. Go to sleep and bury it above your ankles, the meridians down there. 100%. I'm doing that with you.
Dude, that's exactly
Dude,
how
I
I
cannot
felt.
wait to see what happens.
Yes.
I'm like going to the Sierras to do this. I'm like, oh yeah. No, I'm probably
plugging
give
in.
you a great idea. I know what I'm doing next.
I can't wait to show up while you guys are buried up to your shins and smack you both in the face and walk away.
I'm going to set it up so my legs are, I'm buried in. You know what I mean?
We gotta face east. That's another
All right,
thing you said.
all right.
This is the
Your
crazy.
feet are facing east or your head? Yeah.
And what are you going to
Yeah,
Oh,
that's good.
well, I'm burying standing. You're gonna lay down?
I was going to lay down and bury it in so I could sleep well.
Well, we want to stand because we're awake all day long, and we want to be able to move and basically use our body from a stationary position like a tree. We're becoming a tree.
Oh, so staying up all night. You're saying stay up.
No, we can sleep, but you can just sleep with your knees bent and the feet in the ground.
Okay. So it has to be when I'm not training, so I'm like, I don't feel completely wiped out from staying up all night. I'd rather do that.
I think it's probably...
I'd rather do that than hike with Eddie 68 miles.
Dude,
on the
he sent me
Backbone
that
Trail
text.
with 25,000
Did I
vertical
invite you
feet.
to come with us?
Yeah, I don't think I can do that. My body's
Do it with
a
me.
little trashed.
This is what I do. This is what I did with Hunter the other day. We take off with them. We have a really good time. Everybody's happy. We see them 4 hours later. We drive over here.
I'll do
We
that.
eat.
I'll be in the support crew.
That's what Meryl and I want to do. We want to support them all the way through. I jumped off a climbing wall from 30 feet last year to the cement. My ankle's not up for going 60
I've got dead
miles.
nerves in my legs, so they don't work properly.
I think where we're going to need you is 40 miles plus. Like when it gets into...
After I saw Hunter at 25 miles, you'll be needed there as well.
Is it bad?
It's not good. He's 27 years old, and he was not happy, and neither were his two friends. They were miserable. And I was talking a mile a minute, keeping them going, look, you only got to go about 500 more feet in elevation gain. Then it's all downhill. You guys got this. They were wiped out. 25 miles, and they were wiped out, and it wasn't a super hot day.
You know what?
70s, 80s.
In all the training I've done, I've found I never I do things, but I don't. I do them because people say these things work, and I haven't done much testing on myself where I'm like, oh, I feel better when this, because I feel like there's so much chaos and so many extra circumstances that could make it things happening, from what you're eating to what you're drinking to how much sleep you had. But I will tell you this, like, something happened the other day that I didn't do properly, that I felt like shit compared to usually, and I really believe it was sodium intake. I really believe...
You didn't have enough?
Yeah, I did not have enough.
Happens a
and
lot.
I believe if
Happens
you
a-
keep your electrolytes up,
Yeah.
that you can feel really good in situations like this. And if you let them deplete it all, you're fucked. And I think we have a society walking around with depleted electrolytes.
I think so. I am supposed to be... Well, never mind. I don't need to promote that. But I think the most important thing is that we know how the body works. Sodium's necessary for a muscle to fire.
Yeah.
It's necessary. Same thing with calcium. And so...
And the type of sodium.
we don't want to just be like the person in the car pressing the gas pedal and then the car moves and gets us from destination to destination. We want to be like the mechanic where they press the gas pedal and they can sort of visualize every step of the way, you know? And so when we're doing things, if we know why we're moving the way that we are, why we feel the way that we are, and we can diagnose what's going on inside of our body at a cellular level, then at least we're aware, you know?
Yeah.
And we could be uncomfortable. We can make ourselves uncomfortable and know why we're uncomfortable and how to not be uncomfortable next time.
So hair in the antenna, Ronnie.
Yeah.
So American Indians, World War II, guys that are breaking codes, right? They get a group of them. This happening.
Remote viewing is what you're breaking codes. How define that?
Well, you know, they're going over to break codes against the Germans, the American Indians. The Brits brought them over.
Psychically?
The wind talkers.
Like kind of
Yeah,
psychically?
wind talkers. You know, they're able to figure things out. They have an intuition. They have all this stuff.
Yeah.
This is mind-blowing.
But they also were using them because they were able to use Native American Indian languages that the...
Right. That was a big part of the wind talk.
But he's talking about like actually psychic powers.
Right, here we go. They put them in the army barracks. There's 12 of them. They're all sitting in. You could look this up. They put them in there. And they test their psychic powers by doing this. They sneak into their barracks to see if they can get the jump on them. They come in they go to sleep at lights out at 6 or something if it's in the middle of winter. They come in at 8 o'clock. They come in at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, all different out, 3 a.m. Okay, this is mind-blowing. Let's say they came in at 9 o'clock. When they come in the door, right, they sneak in super quiet. There's no way you're going to hear them. And they see if they can, you know, like act like they're going to capture them. They're going to get them when they're all sleeping. Every single time, call it 50 times over a 2-week period of time that they came in, every fucking Indian in the room was sitting up in bed looking at them come through the door. Every one of them. All right, here it goes. Ready, Ronnie?
That's my dog, Noosa.
Ready? Shave their fucking heads.
Right.
The next night, guess what? They walked right in on them.
It's gone.
Done. Now, women have a much better intuition than we do.
Because they give birth and they need to channel the information from the cosmos down into the baby.
And they have hair. And they always keep long hair, and we always have short hair. Who is more you know, following the rules, doing everything that you're supposed to say, do everything that you do? Police officers, military guys, shave their heads and they'll listen to everything that you have to, right?
Yeah.
It's all about that. It's all about compliance. You hippie, growing your hair in the 60s. You guys, there were guys that back then, the big, you know, people that were governors of different states. You guys just need a haircut. That's all that's wrong with you. Remember those guys? I mean, it's on the news. It's big things. So I fought my whole life to keep long hair when I was modeling and stuff. Like, my hair is really short now. I got a haircut the other day for the first time in like 5 months. But I still keep it long on the top. But I fought since I was a kid, not knowing why. I think it's just intuition. They're like, you should cut your hair. You should cut your hair. You should cut your hair. I'm like, I could just put stuff in my hair to look like it's short. I'm keeping my hair long. I fought it all the time. And then I heard that story and I smiled. I was just like, that's why I always want my hair long. That's why.
Well, is there something? I mean,
there's something to it.
I mean, a whisker.
I
A whisker is different than a hair, is it not? Like a dog, and dogs use their whiskers as dog.
Cats.
A dog can tell going through a hole how wide their body is
that's
by how
that's
far.
cats. That's a big thing with cats.
I think
whiskers.
dogs do the same thing also.
I don't think so.
I'm almost positive.
I'm almost 100% against that because my dog's whiskers right here. He could not go through a hole this big. I mean, but all cats can go through holes that the size of their whiskers. That's 100%. But dogs, I mean, come on.
But they're sensing the electromagnetic frequency.
Absolutely. But the hair is connected to the head, so the brain frequency is getting it from the hair. You know what I mean? Like all the information that's going on in the brain. I always said that. I was like, why do we have so much hair on our head? What's the deal with that? Like, what's that about?
So Genghis Khan also used to shave the heads of the conquered peoples so that they wouldn't rise up against him. That's how Genghis Khan
How
went
awesome is that?
and
They did
just,
it during
like,
the Holocaust.
destroyed Genghis Khan. Basically, most of Asia is descendants from him.
Yeah.
Because he ruled everyone, and the way that he kept the people from rising up is he would shave the men's head and he would give the women bangs. And when you give women bangs, it covers their basically the pores in the front of their the forehead is very porous, and there's a lot of information that comes in through there
To the pineal.
Right, and so you're covering that up. You're interrupting that flow. And so the ancients knew this stuff, and it's still alive in American indigenous peoples. And so we go back to melanin, which is the coloring in your eyes and your skin. So let me just, can you hold this mic for me?
Yeah, sure.
So when we're a baby, so when Bobby was, when the sperm inseminated the egg, what did you say? You turned into 2 testicles first? Is that what happened?
I came with 2 testicles first. Those are my 2 cells.
The zygote turns to 2 cells and it's 2 testicles. Anyways, the zygote turns and replicates, or it splits, and it's 2 cells turn to 4 cells, turn to 8 cells, turn to 16 cells.
32, 64,
and then eventually it's just a
128.
clump of cells, right?
Yep.
Those cells.
Ronnie's doing something with banana peels, by the way.
Yeah, so I've got 3 banana peels. So so the clump of cells turn to 3 different types of cells, right? The germ layers.
Okay.
Ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. Let me see if I can remember how this goes. So,
and mine were all meso, right?
Mesoderm's the bones and the muscles, okay?
Exactly.
So there's one germ layer, and all these cells turn into all the different things in the body. So the ectoderm is the brain and the central nervous system. So all the cells in this germ layer turn into the brain and the nervous system. Then there's the
Meso in the middle?
let's see.
Or is it the endo?
Endo is the organs. So let's just say that's in the middle. I'm kind of forgetting how this goes. And then the meso is the bones
and muscles. That's going to be third. Yeah.
Okay, so it's actually layers. They're called germ layers. And then what happens is this needs to turn into a sphere because that's how our body forms. So it starts to circle up, and I'm just for the audience.
Is that to complete the circle of life kind of thing?
Well, you're talking about
like all that stuff is interconnected now by that sphere. That's awesome.
So all of these cells are going to eventually turn into your bones, your organs, right? So we've got ecto, which is the brain, endo, which is the organs, meso, which is the bones.
And Ronnie's taking the banana peels and he's making a circle, like the circle of life, and all those things interconnect, and that's what...
So the innermost layer, which is the brain, they stick out. And as the circle closes, there's 2 flaps that stick out, and then these peel around the mesoderm. So the brain then peels around the mesoderm, and that's your skin. Can you visualize that?
Yeah.
So our
Pretty badass.
skin and our hair and our eyes are made of the same cells as our brain. So when we talk about our skin...
Dude, that's awesome. Where did you get that from? That the part about everything's that made it the same.
That's 9th grade biology.
Yeah,
but that we all learned.
Well, I didn't know that the skin. I didn't know the skin, the hair, and I didn't know the skin and the hair was the same as the brain. And
so this thing, I made a connection in the book Anatomy Trains, which is a book about. Probably a lot of listeners, especially therapists, read this book, and it's about...
We went on vacation in 9th grade, by the way.
I'm reading Biology for Dummies right now.
So this is... I learned this again in the book Anatomy Trains, which is talking about like how a manual therapist would use the fascia and everything in the body. So it wants to really talk about how everything's connected, right? So what we're talking about here is that the skin and the hair are not just protective mechanisms, right? They're not just, it's not just a coating to protect everything. It's actually intricately.
Well, we know the skin's an organ. Is hair considered an organ too because it's like the brain?
So I'm kind of going against, I'm kind of going out on my own here and just suggesting that the melanin in our skin is not to protect from the sunlight. It's actually to grab from the sunlight. And when you're out into the sun more, the body needs to produce more melanin to grab more sun. If you're not in the sun, it's not going to produce melanin. It's not going to waste resources producing melanin. There's melanin in your eyes and there's melanin in your hair. Also, massive amounts that are always there. There's not always melanin in the skin. That adapts, but there's always melanin in your hair. And there's also books on melanin that I've read. There's different types of melanin. We've all got dark hair, so we have the type that needs a lot of sun.
Is that why when you put oils on your skin, it actually pulls more in? It helps pull more in?
More light, you mean?
Yeah, more light helps activate. It actually stirs stuff up. I mean, I always put, I got a really great mix of oils that I put on my skin all the time,
Yeah.
when I get out in the sun. Because there's such a difference when you go out dry. Unless you're not showering for days, which is the best thing, right? That's the best form of sunblock you can use. How many people do you know that are like, I got to take a shower, I'm going to the beach?
Dude, all the time.
What are you talking about?
2 times a day. It's like, bro, I haven't used soap or shampoo or conditioner in 10 years. I want that oil on my skin. And I always forget the last time I took a shower. I don't even remember. And I usually shower outdoors in a river or this dirty
I
ass
always say to
ocean.
Marielle, she's like, you didn't take a shower. I said, I was in the ocean a half hour ago.
Exactly. Okay, so check this out. Melanin.
Doesn't quite work with my wife.
She's not letting you in that
So
room.
she just goes yeah, that's what's happening. You're not having sex. Go take a shower. All right, I'll shower. I try to go, I agree. I feel like the ocean cleans me off better than anything, except for all the toxins in our ocean here that are just pathetic
horrible.
and
That's
awful.
why I always go north of Point Doom. It's better than
that's where I surf. But Bobby took me to his natural hot springs up in Idaho.
Oh, dude, 1 mile from my doorstep. How about that? River running hard, hot springs right next to it, pool the size of this room, right? Up to your chest, sitting down, kick back, shooting stars, watching the satellite. I mean, it's like, really? We live like this?
You lived like this.
Yeah.
You created this.
Yeah, dude.
So, I mean,
but
we all need you to create your ultimate greatest manifestation, and that's good because you're increasing.
My buddies were always like, "You don't live in reality." I'm like, "I live in my reality." Yeah, exactly.
I mean, my life's kind of the same. It doesn't make sense.
No, never makes sense to be doing something that everybody else is not doing.
No, I think it's funny that people will work. I think it was the Dalai Lama or something. They said people work their whole lives, and to make money. In the process, they lose their health. And then they take all the money they made to spend it to get their health back.
Yeah, they trade their health for wealth, and then they use their wealth to try to get their health back. And
But
it ain't going to happen.
What I find funny about it is all these people try to achieve massive, massive amounts of wealth. They work really hard to have massive wealth. And then what do they do with their wealth? They buy a farm.
Mm-hmm.
They always buy a farm where they're going to grow their own food and have animals and go get away from it all to go to this farm to get away. And it's like, you could have just done that
Exactly.
and not chased all this other bullshit. You created a process that was unnecessary to get back to your farm, and when you could have just had your farm.
That's wisdom right there. That's what happened to me. I made a lot of money. I was living in houses like this in the top of the Hollywood Hills and just being like, what the fuck? This isn't worth working for. This success of being able to walk into a dealership and buy whatever car I wanted, it's just not worth working any amount for.
But if I gave you $1 billion and you got to use it for good, it's kind of cool.
It's true. It's a very good point.
I'm not against money.
Yeah, no. The only reason why I want money, because I never did until I met Marielle. I'd make 6 figures a year as a stuntman and an actor and model and whatever, and so all I needed $500 a month for a place on the beach. I don't need anything.
Right.
That's how I lived. I met Marielle, and she said, you have too much information that needs to be given out, no different than what you're doing, to help people. You spark an interest in one person, and that person gets to 10 people, boy, are you doing. That's the definition of a billionaire today. Affect 1 billion lives positively before you leave here. That's amazing. That's a billionaire. That's the definition. We're all trying to connect to people and help people and open things up. I mean, that's what it's about. So the Stratosphere, I'm hopeful to be a multi-billion-dollar company, but to do what? To make better lives. I think that if we make better people, if they're making choices that you're making, just think of how much better this place would be. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not like, how do I rip this guy off? How do I steal this? How do I do that? How do I do this? No, how do I help you? How do I help you? How do I help myself? The good of yourself, the good of others, the good of greater good. That's the message for everybody.
Did you ever read Conscientious Capitalism?
Conscientious Capitalism?
Conscious.
I think it's Conscientious.
Oh, maybe.
It's the guy who started Whole Foods wrote it, and it's about you can make money doing the right thing. Like, it's not bad to make money.
No.
It's not a bad thing, but but if you're doing it in a productive manner that's helping people, that's the way you should do it. And always think giving more than you get, and you'll just there will be abundance on the other end because you do the right thing, rather than constantly thinking about what's the bottom line, how can we make more money. It's a really good book.
Yeah,
really good.
I like that you brought up the new billionaire because the standards of what is wealth can be redefined.
Yeah, Tim Ferriss talked about that a lot in the 4-Hour Workweek with calling it the new rich, which are the new rich of the people who have figured out how to live life without having to work. There's other things that are important.
Right. I only make money so that I can roam around like a sage talking to whoever ends up in front of me. And that's when I feel most on my purpose, is when I just walk through the earth and I talk to people.
That's what I said to Ronnie when he came in. I said, I've driven across the country 87 times when I was in my 30s. I did the same thing. You know who else did that? When it went all over the place? A guy named Jesus. He was missing from 18 to 30. Everybody's like, what happened to Jesus between 18 and 30? He did what Ronnie's doing. He's going to figure it out.
Wasn't Gandhi
Ronnie's going
doing
to walk on water is what I'm saying.
He
if he stays out there long enough.
We're going to hear all your P's if you don't put that back on. No, the top thing fell off. It's on your lap.
On the floor.
By the way, Bobby, you were wrong on the whiskers. I was right.
I was wrong.
I Googled it.
I think you guys had a different definition.
The whiskers have a lot of different reasons. And they've got... I didn't realize this. There's all different kinds of whiskers in a dog's face.
There's Whisk-a-Biscuit.
Who thought of that?
One of our favorite, the three of us, so that's our favorite whiskers of all, the Whisk-a-Biscuit. Come on, everybody, get on that.
I'll bet you Ronnie's a big fan of the big hairy puss. That's one place where I hope the hair goes away.
Oh, not me. I talked them into not
growing
shaving
it out.
Yeah, dude, it's like this is how I'd meet you if we met in the woods. Like,
what about the
more human?
Yeah, but what about the girls who are soft down there, like hair soft on your head? How many people have experienced that? I couldn't believe it the first time. Because usually it's like
baby
it's
hair?
horse hair.
Yeah.
No, this one girl, I was like, dude, the hair is the same down there as it is on your head. What is that? Like, unbelievable. I was like, wow.
I've seen a girl that it was straight, like the hair on my head, and it looked like ZZ Top down there.
Little ZZ Top action.
She had a ZZ Top beard covering. You had to part it in the middle like a Fu Manchu. It says they're antennas. That the whiskers are...
All the whiskers are antennas?
That the dog's whiskers are antennas. And
well, they're not fitting through holes with those.
I'm telling you, how do you think a dog knows?
Dude, you think the whiskers that are an inch wide are going to put him through an inch hole?
Absolutely. What's the widest part of a dog's body? Shoulder blades, right? Shoulder blades. Am I right?
Yeah,
but the whiskers aren't going to do anything like that. It doesn't have to do anything like that, but it is an antenna.
Yeah, no, I know. I was saying that the cat's whiskers actually are measured for the size of the body to go through things. Dogs, no.
But we're talking about it actually is sensing the size of things.
Sensing, I believe. Yes. I was just saying actual physical size. Cats know that when they bump with their whiskers, can't make it through there.
And I'm saying dogs know the same thing. And you're saying, because I've seen dogs get through cracks that you were like, how did that dog get through that? And they know that the rest of a dog's body is not much bigger.
You think Tree will fit through this?
No. No.
His whiskers are that wide.
No, they're not. They're
Yes, they
wider.
are.
They're wider than
Show
that.
me.
I'll show you.
Hey.
Yeah, I am. I'm waiting.
I guarantee they're wider than that. I
But
don't
they're
wanna wake-
still
don't wake
measuring the
Tree up.
map.
His whiskers are this big.
No, there's longer
My
ones.
cat's whiskers are like that.
Their head is not much bigger.
They're
than
all.
the
They're
rest
not
of their
just
body.
measuring physical spaces, though. They're actually
I know.
picking
I
up
was
emotions.
I was
and-
talking about physical space. That's all I was talking about. Don't ever say I'm wrong again.
That's why the
Especially in
dog
front of
knows.
Ronnie.
You guys, if you guys, have you guys seen? There's a study where they measured all these dogs in Europe. I think it was London. The dogs and the dog owners, and when the dog owners would just think about leaving work,
60. It was on Discovery Channel. Saw that episode. Badass.
So what is it?
I
Explain
don't
it.
watch TV,
Let's
but when the dog owners just think about coming
Going home.
home, the dogs would like go
Get
away
up,
and
go to the window or the door, and wait.
Wow.
Doesn't
even
matter if they're 3,000 miles away or 3 miles away. If it's a real conscious decision, the dogs are connected to the owner. They're like, Eddie's coming home. Eddie's coming home. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And they just start doing it.
yeah, and it doesn't have to be on schedule too, because some
Nope.
people would come home at random times.
I do believe there's
Unbelievable
so
episode. I
much
saw
connection
that.
with animals and dogs especially. My dog is a cattle dog, and the way they're bred and the things about them, it's just amazing, all the different breeds and what they're meant to do. And sometimes my wife tries to break my dog of certain things. Like I walked in the house last night and the dog barked so loud at me as I came in, and she was like, "Shit, the baby." And I'm like, "No, I'm away a lot. If some man walked in the house, I want the dog to lunge at the door coming open and a person coming in. Why would you break a dog of that habit? That's exactly what they're bred
and they're all
to do.
bred to do that. It makes you
Yeah.
wonder what humans were bred for.
Interesting. Who bred us?
Right.
I mean,
I wasn't bred, remember? 2 testicles, I'm here. It's good.
that's a good point. All right, last thing, because how long? Fuck,
2 hours?
This is like a 2-hour podcast. But Raw is very famous for. He believes in a couple of things. He's tried his own essence, and he's also been into drinking his own urine. And I want to see where you stand on all this.
Well,
Let him explain why.
If his diet's clean, he's good to go. But if you're eating like garbage, I wouldn't drink your own urine if you're eating garbage. It's just I don't think too much ammonia, this, that, the other thing. He's not showering. He doesn't smell all this stuff. I'm sure he's good to go. I mean, it's an old American Indian thing. There's a bunch of reasons why to. I don't. I'm always eating stuff. I'm always eating lots of meat. He's clean. The cleaner you are, the better.
You eat
better.
meat, though, right?
That's my take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on meat right now. I was 2 years mostly vegan. Up until a couple months ago, because I was just letting my body go.
Yeah, I
just
noticed
wanted to see.
you were the skinniest I've ever seen you last
it
time
was
we did this.
Crazy.
Yeah. And
You
Ronnie
gain weight back.
A little bit. I'm still way underweight, but
What do you like to weigh? What feels best to you?
180.
180. And what are you now? 170? 160?
I would say I'm probably low 170s.
Yeah. Yeah, my perfect weight's 203. It always has been. I'm 6'2". Like 203, that's the number. I fluctuate from 200 to 208 pounds. 203 is the number.
But don't you think as you get older, or almost too late, like that you should have put more muscle on, because the muscle's just going to deteriorate as you get older?
Not if you do stuff.
Yeah, but
Dude, 57 again. I'm still doing the same things
57,
I
I'm
did when I was
talking
27.
70,
Same.
80.
Your penis grows as you get older.
Did I just see that on your...
What happens when
I
you
just
get
saw
older?
that
What do
on...
you say,
I
your
think I
penis?
read that on your Facebook.
Your penis gets
I mean, your
smaller or
Instagram.
bigger?
Older. Or
It says
bigger.
You know, your nose keeps growing and your ears keep growing. Ronnie claims your penis keeps growing.
That's why my dick is 5 feet long at 60 years old.
Where did you read that?
The Tao of Sexology.
Oh, okay.
But then it comes with a bunch of exercises that you should be doing, like stretching it out.
I do that every
massaging.
day.
Yeah.
I stretch it and massage it every single day.
Good.
Everybody has to.
Yeah.
If you don't,
It's bad for your prostate.
Use it or lose it. But that doesn't mean ejaculate every day, because you'll be
Right.
dead. You'll be dead before you hit the ground running. That's a big thing too.
Really?
Oh my God, that ages men faster than anything. It's like
It's the
taking
reason
blood
why
and
we
throwing it out of
die.
your body.
What? I don't know this. Tell me this.
If you have sex with a girl, the skin is so thin on your penis that it absorbs the nutrients of what's coming out of her vagina, and you're putting stuff into her, right? They get energy from you. If you're a depleted guy and you're having sex with a girl and you're tired, you're having too much sex, you should hold off on ejaculating. So basically the Tao is, and Ronnie definitely knows this, is you spring ahead in the spring, you have more sex. You cruise through the summer, you have sex. You fall back in the fall, and you go dormant in the winter. 100%. This has been going on for centuries and centuries and centuries. So when you have sex with a girl, and we all have the same sex, you could sit there and say, I do it different than everybody. Every guy does the same thing. You try to bring the woman to orgasm. It's better for both of you. And the closer she gets to orgasm, the closer you get to orgasm, but you hold back. It's kind of like a play, and it's the art of war in bed and sex. So you keep going and keep going. The more orgasm she has, the healthier you're going to be. Now, if you have sex with her, she has no orgasm, and you ejaculate, the French like to call it a little death.
A little death.
You have a little death. And if you jerk off, you just fucking killed a bunch of shit. You're just killing yourself. Us jerking off and masturbating as kids was the biggest mistake of our lives. You'd have so much more energy if you didn't jerk off 5 times a day like a crazy kid. Right?
7 to 9.
Yeah, whatever it was, right? And so blowjobs, same thing. You're not getting the essence of a woman. This is where I go with my gay friends. I'm like, you guys having sex, a guy and a guy can't. I'm not saying you can't love each other, but you got the same body parts, and you got fire and fire, and it's not healthy. You're not getting what you're supposed to, the complete circle of what a male and a female have, and what goes back and forth. If you're constantly fire, it wears you out. There's not many homosexual guys that are promiscuous and have a lot of sex with just guys that are healthy when they're older. It just beats the hell out of you.
Let me ask you this, though. What about they say that you need to ejaculate, I forget how many times a month to clear your prostate? It's good for your prostate.
It's like 1 time a month.
Is it?
I don't know.
Everybody's different.
I thought it was like 21 times.
No.
I was trying to keep it up. I was trying to keep that number up.
But the other thing is the prostate. The prostate. Right now, I'm moving my prostate. You do Kegels, you do locks. You know about breath and locks.
I'm glad you're doing Kegels as we speak.
Yeah, I just did it now.
As soon as he said it, I did it, man.
Yeah, and right away, and right away, what do you feel? You feel your testicles moving. What are they doing? They're producing hormones and testosterone. 33% of your testosterone and hormones come from your testicles. You got to move them around, and you move them around by you doing Kegels and doing locks. But that's the sex. That's why all my Chinese medicine, doctors and people that I went to over the years, they all say the same thing. American men have too much sex, and it ages them and makes them sick. That's what ages them the fastest. That's why monks look so good. They're holding, keeping their chi, keeping their focus. And here's the other thing. When I first started doing it, I don't know if you've experienced this. The girl thought I didn't like her.
Right.
You didn't come?
They go nuts.
And I was like, yeah, no, I can't. I got to stay strong. It's just like fighters.
It
you
makes
can have
them
sex,
wild.
but don't ejaculate.
What?
Yeah.
They go nuts when you don't do it.
But you have internal orgasms. That part when you're just about to come and it's great for her, and you hold back, and then you clear and you're not going to come, and you start doing it again. You're like, I'm going to go again. Well, you just had an orgasm. It was an internal orgasm, just like they have. Same thing. You're just not ejaculating. Feels so good. Oh my God, it's almost like coming, but not. I'm holding back. I'm going to go again. Everybody does the same thing. You keep trying to prolong it.
David, I like to pull out and spray it around.
Yeah, but
wait.
So for me, not ejaculating for 6 weeks is when I start to realize I'm emanating some other force that everybody in the room is recognizing.
Exactly right. Where are you from? They'll start saying. You're not from here, are you? Because you don't function the same. The more you get grounded, go out, don't ejaculate. I can't tell you how many times I go to the Sierras the last 30 years. I come back and people are like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm from down the block. I live on Eastwood in Marina Del Rey." "Yeah, you're not from around here. I never saw." I go, "Yeah, I saw you last week when I came to the Cow's End." Because they energetically, you're different. You went out and you walked barefoot. You're by yourself. You're not no phones, no ejaculation, no nothing. I mean, that's why you look like you're 180 years old. I'm just saying. Ronnie and I got this like insane stuff going on, and you're like 200. 79 times a day, Eddie F. He's got the record. 79 times a day.
Oh, my God. When I'm on the road in a hotel room, I just lock the doors and don't leave.
It'll knock you on your ass.
Imagine what that's made for. It's made to produce another life, another you.
Yeah.
And your body's going to put as much energy into that very potent substance that it can. It's going to put it's basically at a huge investment, and then you're just like spraying it on the fucking bathroom floor.
Throwing it away. It's Dr. Lin, my Chinese, she speaks broken English. Every time you ejaculate, if you're not with women, it's like taking money out of the bank and then never comes back. She goes, you're throwing your energy away. You are throwing your energy away.
And this is what women get from guys. They're craving this energy.
Yeah. They love it.
It's fulfilling them.
They love it.
Penetrating.
Oh, wow. Last thing.
So just calm down, bro.
I don't know.
You got this, Eddie.
I don't know.
He's got a blank stare, man.
Hey,
I think
you know,
he's coming apart.
You guys
let's give him some help on how to get that energy out.
I wasn't able to sleep from the root canals in my teeth. Now I can't even jerk off to put myself to sleep.
Everybody's gonna notice a difference in Eddie if he follows this. And
I can't have sex with
see
my
how
wife.
long you can go, like the episode of Seinfeld.
My wife's so afraid I'll give her another kid. We cannot have another.
Well, this is perfect.
That's the other thing that would happen.
Yeah.
If you held back for a long time and had sex, you would have a kid.
I don't want another one.
Yeah, well.
I love having two. I want to end it right here. And she wants me to get snipped. There's no fucking way I'm getting snipped.
Yeah, snips are a little weird to me.
Creepiest thing in the world. What if the apocalypse happens and I need to start our race
drive?
back
have to do
up?
self-surgery to get it reversed.
Yeah. There's no way I'm getting snipped. No possible way. Last thing. Bobby thinks he can fix, he knows someone that can fix bad eyesight.
Oh, it's sunlight again. Shutter, bait system, right? Magnifying glass doing this. I could show you all this stuff. So there's a lady by the name of Gloria Ginn. She has a website.
How do you spell her last name?
I don't have it. Gloria Ginn is her name. And she goes out to Palm Springs with all retired people from California like that are out there. For 2 weeks, she gets people out of eyeglasses. And she says that 80% of the population doesn't need glasses, even if they started wearing them as children, and she gets them out. And so if I showed you this shutter thing, I think I have a shutter and a magnifying glass in my room, and we do it for 10 minutes, you will feel like you can see better, and you'll have more energy in your eyes. So you close your eyes and you do this with a magnifying glass. So you get a 6x light hitting here, and it shutters back and forth, and you can see the veins in your eyes backwards when your eyes close. And it gets warm, and it feels really good. It's creating circulation. Obviously simple. It's like exercising that part of the eye. Then the shutters are doing this, and your eyes track, and they go back and forth. I'm looking at the spaces in between my fingers, and there's like 50 or 60 little lines that you go back and forth, and you go like this with your head. This way, and you move it this way. This way, and you move it this way. Just back and forth. And opposite, and you track faster. So it's exercising your eyes to track faster. The other thing it does is it sharpens your imagination. If the three of us look out my back door right now, and we're looking at the ocean, and I go, look at the sailboat. And right away, your imagination first says sail, white, out there, boom, it showed up. You saw it. If you can't, if you don't have that going on, then you start to slow down. This is the reason why old people, when they start to lose their sight and everything starts to go out, you talk to somebody, you say, hey, Bob, I'm an old person. And I go like this and look at you. Little kids are like this. Heads are moving all over the place. Old people, heads go down, shoulders go down. They're going back into the earth. Right? They're not staying upright. They're not looking around. They don't look at the buildings up. They're all down on the ground and a little bit lower than eye level. So she talks about the big part of this is when you read a magazine, a book, or anything, we do this when we're little kids. We're reading it, and we're going like this, and we're going back, just like a typewriter. You're going back and forth, back and forth. Somebody at some point says, stop moving your head. As soon as you stop moving your head when you're reading things, even if it's just a slight movement, you're staring. Staring makes your eyes weak. So you do that long enough, it weakens your eyes for reading. So she talks about all this stuff, how movement's important, like when you're looking at things, like rock back and forth. She gives you all these exercises. And you do
It's called the schoolofbettereyesight.com. Gloria again, Ginn.
It's badass. You do it, and you're just like, well, how's this possible? I do it to friends for 15 minutes. They're like, is it placebo? Because I feel like I can see better. I go, no, you just exercised your eyes.
I designed a Kriya. Well, I didn't design it. I put a Kriya on KriyaoftheWeek.com, which is a website I own. And one of them was an eye Kriya. And it had a lot of these things in it. And it's made to make your eyes better. And it's rotating your eyes around, doing breath work with eye movements.
Around the sun in the morning.
Different focal points. And what you talked about, like perception, is both like a visual perception ties and interlinks into like even what we're able to comprehend, imagine, whatever you want to call it, the ability to perceive from another person's standpoint. It's all tied into our eyesight.
Yep.
The more just like straight we are with our eyesight, the focal just straight ahead, the less we're able to perceive of the world. So there's another doctor that wrote a book, an eye doctor, and the book is called Light Medicine of the Future, and it's kind of like a play on words because obviously it's not a medicine of the future, it's a medicine of the past. But his thing's all about sunlight also into the eyeballs.
Awesome. And that's where most of the ions come from, correct? You get a lot of negative ions from your eyes alone going out where there's ions. And so you got sunglasses on. We all know what those do.
Right.
You know, I laugh. I'm like, well, you see any hawks flying around with Ray-Bans on? Because they're doing okay, and they don't need glasses. Now, you need sunglasses for windshields, motorcycles. I understand those places, but to have them on all the time, you're not letting the light in, and the light is what heals us, gives us our energy, and does all of that.
But, surfing a lot, my eye doctor has told me, too. He's like, the reflection off the water can really fucking
Plus the salt water drying them. I get it.
And surf. What the fuck is happening? Is it me? Okay. Nope. Yes.
Go early in the morning, go late in the afternoon.
Well, because that's when the sharks are out.
Everybody wants to ask the questions, well, what if I do this? Well, if it's not good for you, why are you continuing to do it?
No. Well, I'm just saying, but being on the water, there's a reflection.
Yeah,
of
it's
the
not
sun.
a natural thing.
Yeah.
It's not a natural thing.
It's really bad for your eyes. And I wear contact lenses because I have bad eyesight. And he said to me, I was like, I want to get the LASIK surgery so I can see better. I can open my eyes underwater then. He goes, don't do it. He said, your contact lenses are polarized. So you're not going to get that sun damage that most of the surfers get because your eyes, that polarization is stopping that from happening. Now, the one thing I did just start to get, I'm getting surfer ear, which is, do you know about this?
Cold water, yeah.
Cold water and the wind.
Yeah.
Your body tries to adapt to it.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not too good for you. The cartilage in your ear starts to grow.
Close the hole.
It closes the canal.
Yeah, and water can get locked in.
Yeah, and then water gets locked
then
in.
You
get a lot
drill,
of infections
drill
and everything.
hole, yeah.
So then the surgery is they drill in and drill all that cartilage out.
It's
like
crazy.
a rotor.
Like you said, you got to be careful what you're doing. But make sure that you mention Mariel's magazine, earthing.com. Mariel did a magazine called MH Earthing, Healthy Living with the Mariel Hemingway. So
where is Mariel right now?
Mariel's in Dallas, Texas, doing a speaking event. She's an honorary speaker for Alzheimer's with Alex and Eileen Charlton. They're the heads of the philanthropic group Carlyle.
Oh wow,
they're big. They got an $89 billion fund of doing good in the world, and they're talking about helping with stratosphere. That could be fantastic. It's a long runway.
Where can they find you, Bobby?
I'm right here. I'm hanging out with you guys.
At Bobby Williams B on Instagram.
Yeah.
And Ronnie is at raw_of_earth.
Yes. Raw of Earth.
And and thank you guys for sharing all your wisdom with everybody, because I do think you're both fucking batshit crazy, but I believe you are.
Does this mean you got to stop jerking off, Eddie?
Very wise. Yeah, what I took from this is...
Yes, let us know.
Let's hear what you got.
Commitment time,
basically,
by the way.
I get to fucking come once a month now.
And you got to be really careful around your wife so you don't have a third kid.
I got to eat it. I'm going to die of cancer. I'm going to die of cancer because I have already abused myself.
Not if you get in the stratosphere. You're good. We'll confuse him.
Stratosphere is going to save me from everything. Yeah. That's the end all be all, and I'm going to grow some new teeth.
Yeah, there you go.
And are these grounding beds for your dogs?
You're damn straight they are, my friend.
Awesome.
You're digging it. We have grounding mats. We get grounding mats and grounding beds for the dog. Ronnie right away picked up on it. He's looking around the room going, a lot of grounding going on in this house. You think we're going to let our dogs hang out there in the ethers? No, they're grounded.
So when all you people think that people in California are crazy,
they are.
You're right.
Yeah. I have a grounding mat on my bed. Got it plugged into the wall, and I got a beamer on my bed. I use the beamer for it when I wake up and when I go to sleep. Yeah, I'm blessed, man. I have the best life in the world. It's just amazing. Yep. I really am.
Yep. Well, thanks for doing the podcast and sharing your great lives with everybody else. Maybe people will learn from you. And sorry about the static at the end of the show from my microphone. I'm going home and buying new cords and getting new electricity shoved through my body. Thanks, guys.
Late.